What's up, everyone, and welcome to the 45th episode of the Envision Game Podcast. I'm your host, Brad's Gaming. As always, I'm joined by Kalana Show
Hello, everyone.
and Triple Bravo.
Howdy, folks.
So today we're going to be actually discussing IGN posted their top 100 video games of all time. It's their first time actually refreshing it since 2019, and we just kind of want to, I guess, give our reactions and thoughts on their decision making.
And
So-
how bad IGN is.
Yeah, I've always said it. Even though I've watched and listened to a lot of their podcasts, one of my favorite podcast guys, Colin Moriarty, he came from there, and it's just weird. Obviously, it's not like all individuals who made this; it's like a whole conglomerate of people. But man, it just feels like they are paid by some people. But anyways, we're gonna start at 100 and work our way down to number one. And this is what my mentality is. I don't know if you guys agree. It seems like they didn't go based on anything other than
Anything.
like influence. I feel like it was like they tried to base it on influential nature as like the top thing. So
I can't even agree to that.
that's literally the best thing I got. If I'm gonna say they're going off anything, or they just put 100 games in a hat and they just pulled them out at random.
Besides number one. We
Yeah,
knew number one.
We already knew number one. Which
Are these like the results of their Twitter poll or something?
I don't think so. So, anyways, we'll talk about this. So, number 100 is Borderlands 2. I would say, I don't know. I guess I could see it maybe being on
I
there.
could see it in the
Borderlands,
top 100, but it hasn't
Yeah.
done anything that's not been done before.
it was the game that made the looter shooter. Borderlands 1 did. And then Borderlands 2 just did it better. So,
Yeah, I don't have any real disagreement for it.
yeah, I think it being on the list at 100, I don't.
Yeah, like
I'm not like mad about it or
I
anything.
just don't
Yeah,
care.
you could see Borderlands 2 in the 100th position on a top 100 list, but it's curious that is the one. I don't know.
I would basically say from what I've heard, I've only played the first game, and Joe loves me for it. But I've heard the second game is the best in the series, so
Yeah.
I would imagine that's the reason why it's on the list.
Yeah.
But
But keep
Yeah,
that in
so-
mind to make sure there's none of the other ones above it, because then we're throwing hands.
yeah, exactly. So number 99, we've got Divinity Original Sin 2. I think you guys have played this, right?
A ridiculous amount. And
Okay,
never finished.
all right. So you guys talk about this because I literally don't even know anything about it.
It's,
okay.
Yeah.
It's Dungeons and Dragons in a video game form.
Do you think should be top 100?
It's probably the best video game of its type, like the tabletop RPG.
Yeah.
And the video game form. So, yeah, it has a spot in the top 100. Honestly, I'd probably say this might be lowballing it at 99. I feel like this game's a little bit better than they give it credit for, especially due to the fact that like you could literally just make your own campaigns and play D&D in this game.
Yeah.
I feel like now, since I've watched all the Lord of the Rings stuff, I'm more apt to hop into something like this. I don't know if like the gameplay of it would throw me off completely, but because I'm in like fantasy mode, like I could see myself trying some D&D style games. But
it's very D&D. I mean, that's just what it is, and it's pretty cool.
Based off 3rd edition?
I can't say for certain. 3.5, whatever. Yeah. But it's really cool to see the tabletop kind of visualized. I still want to go back and play it single player. There's essentially a skill that you slot that makes you capable
Scale.
of scaling as a single player because it's really made for like multiple people. But a friend of mine played it through single player and had pretty good fun with it. But
You can
yeah,
actually play 2 players and still use the same skill.
yeah, and like the dog counts, like it doesn't count towards that
Yeah.
whatever. Anyways, it's called Lone Wolf or whatever. Anyways, yeah, I see it on the list.
It sounds like it's a fair one.
Mhm.
So
Just a little low rated in my opinion.
yeah.
I'd bump it
So
up.
let's go to 98. This is gonna be a real long episode if we keep this pace, I feel.
Yeah.
We definitely gotta start speeding through.
Final Fantasy VII. I don't even
Can't
think
say anything about it.
I don't think we need to even really talk about it, other than the fact that the influential part of it should be probably higher.
This is one of the most popular games of all time.
Yeah, it's wild to me. So similar to what Joe said, if there's a Final Fantasy game ahead of it, we gotta throw hands, right? It's
I
like
feel like this game should be top 25 easy.
based on how everybody praises it. I've played this game and I've beaten it when I was a kid, so it is a good game. It is one of the few JRPGs that I have played, beaten, and like actually enjoyed, along with Final Fantasy 9 and 10. And it definitely is very influential, and it should be probably top 25 if you're like not putting your personal bias in it.
And I'm saying even 25 would probably be low for this game, realistically.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of people would probably put this top 10.
Yeah, and I say they have every right to.
Yeah. From how it is, I don't know what the ratings and whatnot I got, but I'm pretty sure this would be top 10.
Yep.
It's
all right.
something like the 50th most highest grossing game in the world.
And it is a PS1 game.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Just for I've got a list of like highest grossing games, so like I'm referencing it for some of these games. But yeah, the next one is Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which in my opinion is the best one out of the series. I haven't played all of them, but
You are the only other person I know who agrees with me on that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the only one.
I thought everybody thought that.
Yeah.
Everyone says 2. 2 is really good, but 4 was my favorite. And it's because I love the boat combat.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
The old Assassin's Creed games before they went to like the Origins and that stuff.
World.
Yeah, I know my buddy, that's his favorite game. He broke his leg and he binged through all the old games, and he said that he loved this one. So sounds about right to me.
This was the first game I owned on the PS4, and I got everything but a single collectible. It was going to be the first game I ever 100%ed, and my dog knocked the power cord out of my PlayStation 4, fried the hard drive, they sent me a new one, and I lost all of my progress. I was one collectible.
RIP. I kind of know that feeling, except it was sheer laziness for me with Far Cry 3. I had like 3 things to pick up, and I just didn't. I found this out when I replayed it on PS4 that you can literally buy apps in the game that show you the location for like collectible stuff. I didn't know that. It's like the little chunks because Ubisoft.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that, and I was using like a guide online, and I was like, I don't know which one I freaking have found and I have found, so I just gave up.
So if we're keeping track, like as far as like franchises, if we're assuming IGN's just trying to like check as many franchises and like company boxes, like Assassin's Creed should be off the list now, right? So let's just.
I would say you could probably see
the argument for 2 above.
Okay.
I could see the argument for. I feel like this should be their one Assassin's Creed that's old, the old Assassin's Creed. Then, like they chose this one above 2 in my eyes, and
I
then
don't think they did. I have a feeling we're going to see 2 higher on the list.
And then it would be like, man, I can't remember the game that everybody loves. Not Origins. What's the other one?
Odyssey?
Yes, Odyssey. Thank you. That's the one. Yeah, I feel like that's the one that we're going to see above it. But
yeah, I could see that
we'll
too.
see.
That one definitely had its ups and downs. It's just too big for me.
Speaking of games above Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge is slotted in number 96.
Never heard of it.
It's the only thing I know is it's like one of those story-based like point and click games, if I'm not mistaken. It's like pretty old PC game.
It's arguably the best LucasArts adventure game. Supposedly.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ryan McCaffrey.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, moving on. Burnout 3 Takedown. So I've heard a lot of good things about this game though, so
Agreed.
I haven't played it, and I think I actually own it. I think it's in my bin that I have.
do own this game, never played it, never had an interest in it.
Yeah. I'm not a big racing guy, but I can see this being top 100 from everything
I
I've
definitely
heard.
know this belongs on the list.
Yeah. So I could see it. Fallout 2 for number 94. I know this is like the older Fallout. This is before it was first person and whatnot, so it was like more strategy style.
Yeah, point and click.
Yeah, point and click style and whatnot. Have you guys ever played it?
I have
I've
not.
played the tiniest bit of this game. I don't know much about it. I've watched some speedruns. If Fallout 2 is down here, it means we're going to see Fallout 3 higher, and probably New Vegas even higher than that.
Yeah, I was going to say New Vegas definitely, but that's like multiple slots for Fallout games, and it's like, dang, dude, like...
That's pretty much what I'm thinking,
really
too.
good, but like 3 of them make the list. It's like,
Yeah.
I could see them
Fallout
doing...
4 is on the list. I'm throwing it out and burning it.
About 76.
Oh, yeah.
Never heard of it.
The best, arguably Bethesda's best online Fallout game.
Next
one hurts.
93 is League of Legends, which, you know, the boys here absolutely love League of Legends, and I'm not a fan, but I could tell you, same thing for me. With like Final Fantasy 7, what we're talking about, this should easily be top 25. Easily.
This should easily be top 10. It is the most played game of all time, besides like Minecraft. They switch back and forth, and there's no reason it's not top 10. Like, the game is ridiculously giant.
It is the 8th most grossing game of all time, and it's still played a bunch today. So like, it just keeps raking in the monies. So just like gross profit, you know, like it's got to be up there because clearly people like it.
And on top of that, it's a free to play game, and it's that high in the grossing. So there's no reason it's this low. It's honestly insulting.
Well, you guys know it's IGN we're talking about.
Yeah,
these guys, I don't even know if they own a PC.
This is true.
So
I'm pretty sure they only play on Switch.
Yeah, they're everything Nintendo right now. It is surprising. So we'll move to Mega Man 3 here. I do think a Mega Man game should be on here, and it's interchangeable between 3 and 2. I would say those are the two that everybody goes back and forth. I personally like 2 a little bit more, but I think that's just nostalgia. That's the game I played when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Mega Man collection coming out, so I can finally
the new one,
so I can finally play through all of them. But yeah,
never played any Mega Man game.
They're if you like old NES games.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them. I know what they are. Know what they're about. It belongs on the list without a doubt.
Yeah, it's definitely
90 is probably low in my opinion, just because of how popular it is.
I feel like it's fair. Like, Mega Man's not as influential as a lot of these other games are. I see it like making the list, but if this was number 100, I would be like, yeah, you know, Mega Man's definitely something that has to be there, but
it's also ahead of League of Legends, which
and it's also like kind of a dead franchise, you know, like they're just putting collections out. That's all they've been doing recently. So
speaking of games that should be on the list, let's talk about a game that should not be on the list. Number 91, Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's just
I have not heard a single person say a good thing about this game.
So they
Is this a
released.
This
Switch
is the
one?
new one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So New Horizons, uh, people in the community, super big Animal Crossing fans, they play it. And like I watched, for like a week and a half while everybody was like playing this on their work breaks and like talking about it at work and like talking about it after work and like just everything. And then like a week goes by and they're like, "Wait. We don't have anything to do." And they've like slowly released they did the Destiny thing where they like released things from the first game as like updates and everybody goes, "Ooh, I have pink sweaters now. I can decorate my house this way now." It's like, "Really?"
I'm going to tell you the reason why this game's on the list. I will tell you the exact reason why this game's on the list. And I'll tell you the exact reason why Joe and I bought the game. Is because
When it released.
there was something that happened to the entire world. No, I don't know what it was.
Don't say it.
Something happened.
Literally less than a month before this happened, I swear. And then this game come out and everybody was like, I have nothing else to do.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna go
it
pretend I'm actually living my life and play Animal Crossing.
So I think everybody had the same mentality. They're like, you know what? This is a good, relaxing game. There's no stress. It can get me out of the real world and just go out and just catch some bugs. And then you play it for 36 hours and you go, why the hell am I catching bugs? I don't care about this. This is boring.
I don't like bugs.
And then it's like, all right, hold on, wait. This is damn. I wish I had something I could show. It's like, this is like the thing. It's like, wait a minute. I got my house. It's like, here's my chair. Much better. I've never been a person that enjoys collecting or buying clothes for my character and putting like furniture in and like, oh, I'm gonna put this picture up on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I barely want to do that in the real life.
And if I do want to play that, I'm just gonna play The Sims.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna do anything that's even remotely close to that, I'm probably gonna play Minecraft. Which doesn't have the whole, but it's like I'm in like, oh, I want to create something or decorate something up. It's like I'm gonna build my house and I'm gonna do it in that game.
And not only that, you're just gonna play the game to pay off debt that you keep putting yourself deeper and deeper into. Because Tom Nook is a capitalist pig.
Tom Nook is actually just a pimp. That's all it is. He's just working them animals out there. So, all right, moving on. Thief 2: The Metal Age. So I've only played one Thief game, and it was
2013.
No, it was on the original Xbox. Hold on.
Oh, okay. It might have just been Thief. I'm pretty sure they released the original for the original Xbox.
Deadly Shadows. That's the name of it.
Okay.
Thief: Deadly Shadows, and it's a very good game, very good stealth game. So, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the Thief games kind of made stealth games, so I could see this being influential in the stealth category.
I have played a bit of Thief 2, and this game, without a doubt, blows on the list. It's the best of the Thief games, even though I really enjoyed 2013 Thief, reboot. Okay. But this is the best one, in my opinion.
I've never heard of this game in my entire life.
Well, let me explain it to you. You're a thief. The end.
Done. Next game.
Yeah.
89. SimCity 2000. Same thing. I haven't played this much at all. I don't know anything about it.
Quite a bit. These are my style games. The simulation, city management, all that. SimCity 2000 is a great game, especially for like the era it released in. It was definitely ahead of its time. Very easy to break this game and just make it.
That's part of the fun for those games.
Yeah, for sure. But this game's awesome. 100% belongs on the list. 89. You could probably argue with me to bump it up like 10, but not much more than that. But definitely is on the list.
I could definitely see it being on there. Inside, I know everybody loves this game. I wasn't the biggest fan of it myself. I'm not going to take it away from the game when I played it. I'm just not a 2D platformer guy. Like I thought Limbo was okay also. Like I'm not going to take away from the games. I know it just doesn't. I'm not the core audience for this, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I've never even heard
based
of this
on
game, honestly.
you never heard of Inside?
Nope.
Nope.
Wow. It it probably deserves to be on the list, but I would say this is one of the ones that like you throw towards like 90s, like late 90s.
Yeah, this reminds me of there's like a more horror version of this game that I was playing. They have two what is it called?
If you look up the game Limbo, that's like the black and white version.
Yeah, I know
Is
Limbo is I'm pretty sure the same people made both of them.
yeah, it is. It's made by
I'm
the
trying
same
to find
people.
out if they made because I was playing one of them and I really was enjoying it. It's like a little girl in a yellow raincoat.
Oh, Little Nightmares? That one?
Little Nightmares? Is
Talking
that
about?
what it's called?
Like the horror
Yeah. Little Nightmares.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's made by the same people, but gives me the same vibe. I just think Little Nightmares has a better atmosphere to me, but I'm also a horror fan, so biased.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's I will say that it's not easy to make a list like this and not be biased, because if Joe and I were to sit down, we'd be throwing on like 6 Resident Evil games on the
And
list.
we'd also be at each other's throat for half of it.
Yeah. So
But you'd see our top 10, it's just like horror, Zelda mixed thing.
yeah. So anyways, whatever. We'll get to something something that kind of goes
We'll be at
along.
each other's throat at some point.
Yeah. So moving on, Titanfall 2, I don't think this should be on the list.
This game 200% belongs on the list.
Think so?
200%.
I just feel like Titanfall 2, I don't know much about it, and other than the fact that I played the first game.
That's the problem.
Oh, all right.
That is 100% the problem. Titanfall 2 is the most criminally underrated and underappreciated game of the past 20 years.
Okay. Actually, I do remember people talking about this. If I'm not mistaken, this game got sandwiched between like 4 different FPS games.
Yep.
And it was the game that was like the first to get the boot, because everybody's like, well, I'm going to buy Call of Duty, obviously. And then Battlefield. And then I think they even had something else. And then there was Titanfall.
And the devs abandoned it.
Yeah.
And then the community just was like, no, we're back.
It's actually it's one of those rare games where like its player base has actually like gone up over time, even with the problem of like hackers and like poor servers and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
This game did everything that Titanfall 1 should have. And what Titanfall 1 did good, they did better. Everything that was wrong with Titanfall 1 got wiped. It is one of the best like sequels in video game history.
Oh. All right. I take my word back.
Yeah.
Here's my game right here, baby. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. This should be top 10 easily. I mean, it's
like
the
second highest rated game of all time.
Exactly, right? Should be top 10.
Hear me out. It should be like 50.
Listen, I'm just happy that they actually recognized it for what it is. The game is one of the best sports games ever.
I would probably argue, without ever playing it, just from word of mouth, this is the best sports game ever.
Yeah, I don't want to say 100% because maybe I'm forgetting something, but this, I think, is the best sports game. I absolutely love these. They're
just
amazing.
going based off that, this should be top 20.
Yeah. It's insane.
Clearly, you guys haven't played NBA 2K17 specifically.
Specifically 2K17. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the first game has a lot of nostalgia for me because I grew up with these games. Like, this was huge. We would like have competitions, my buddies and I, and like we do this weird stuff. I don't even know. We would like have competitions of like whoever could had the lowest score would like get kicked out of the basement. You had to go like somewhere else. It was like
you're not even welcome here anymore. Get
yeah,
out.
it literally was
Yeah.
like that. It was like the Lord of the Flies style. It's like you get murdered.
Yeah.
You're like you're put in another room. You can't be with our friends.
Not
You're
many.
gonna just sit there and stare at the corner.
Yeah, when I was growing up, like me and my brothers were really close, and then we got really far apart. Clearly, as you grow up, but
Yep.
Pro Skater 2 is one of those games where everybody came together, and we, like you go until you crash, and then every once in a while somebody would, be doing a trick in one of the like maps or whatever, and they would find an Easter egg, a little trophy thing floating, and everybody comes together, and we were like,
Apes.
yeah, everybody comes together and like, how the heck are we supposed to get to that? So we were like, okay, get out the protractor and like, okay, if I build up this much energy,
Get out the
okay,
blueprints. We need to start doing math.
yeah,
Baby.
okay, your turn. You try. Oh, so close. Yeah, it was a good time.
It's amazing. And the soundtrack is also amazing.
Yeah. Also, yeah, for sure. Also, we should never call it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. We from now on have to call it THPS2.
That is
Yeah, that's
what
what
it's shortened.
people. I've heard referred to it as.
So yeah, we'll move on. So it definitely Bloodborne probably should be way higher.
Yeah.
But Monster Hunter World is number 85, and I know the fanboys out there absolutely love it. So
I'm not
I've
gonna
heard
say,
great things.
Yeah, maybe it's perfectly placed at 85.
Yeah.
I just can't tell you.
I've played it quite a bit.
I played the demo. That was all I did.
I didn't love it. It's not my style of game. I don't want to fight the same thing over and over just to farm like this 1% drop thing
Yep.
that I need to upgrade because I'm like soft locked until I get that upgrade. The game is massive. Monster Hunter, especially overseas in like Japan, is one of the biggest games. Like they literally had to release it on weekends because kids would skip school.
Like I said, I'll leave it there. It's probably perfectly placed.
Yeah, it maybe up a little bit, but
yeah,
not much.
Speaking of perfectly placed, gentlemen.
perfectly placed. Oh my gosh! So Resident Evil 2 remake, we won't go too deep into it because we've got literally an episode I think of the podcast just us talking probably for like 45 minutes about this one game. The game
finally got to see it played through.
I would say this is. I'm trying to not be biased because this is like very high for me. But like thinking of like other influential stuff that I put above it, I'd say it's probably like top 25 though.
Oh my. Okay.
Top 25. It's without a doubt one of the best survival horror games ever made.
It is. And
I could see arguments, maybe not necessarily arguments, but I could agree that Silent Hill 2 should be above it. I would say the original Resident Evil should be above it, and possibly Resident Evil 4.
so here's the thing. I'm looking at it as kind of similar to what we were talking about with like Fallout, right? We saw the Fallout game. There shouldn't be another Fallout. Like that's too much.
I don't agree to that.
There's too much Fallout and stuff. Like I feel like if you're taking everything from the history, like you still got to fit in things like Pacman.
That's like telling me, okay, I get it, what you're saying, that but that's so limiting because like Zelda is one of the biggest franchises out there. Obviously,
you can have
bias.
You can have Zelda in there. You can have multiples. I'm saying like Fallout's different. Not a good example, but like Legend of Zelda, you got to have at least a 2D game and a 3D game, and then I wouldn't put Breath of the Wild in the top 100 because I hate it so much. So, but just to prove a point. But anyways,
all right, I'm cutting you off. One question for the both of you, and I want one title answers, no explanation, because we'll probably get to it. You have to pick one Resident Evil game to go on this list. What is it, Brad?
One.
Joe.
I'm Brad.
Oh,
It's one. If we're going based off of what we've been talking about, most influential, it is 1.
It is 1.
All
and
right.
4 is a pretty good argument too, though.
But for a different reason.
It's like I feel like they're both very close.
Yeah, there's no
Put it this way.
way you don't put both of them.
Put it this way, I look at it for Resident Evil wise, which this is why I don't want to talk about this. I was trying not to.
Yeah.
No, you're cut off.
All right.
All right, I say
I
1,
guarantee
Brad says 4,
you-
they both in there would go on.
I guarantee you there's another
really
Resident Evil
quickly.
game in it.
Yes, really quickly. All I will say else about it is, if I were to cut one of the 3 games, I would probably cut this game.
Agreed.
If it was like you're gonna only pick 2, I would pick 1 and 4 over 2 remake. But personally, I like 2 remake better because it's the thing that I would be like, oh, I can pop it in. It's a fun game. It's a really fun
And
game.
I also
Great
want to
game.
clarify, 1 remake is the one I'm talking about. Just because it's the same game but better.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
System Shock 2. Okay.
Never heard
So
of it.
System Shock 2 is the influence for a lot of like the FPS kind of horror games. So this is the people that made Bioshock, like a lot of them came from this, and like this is what influenced Bioshock.
It
Are
looks
you
like
talking, like,
Doom.
First-person horror, as in like Outlast style, like walking
No,
simulator?
no, no. It's
Okay.
it's like cyberpunk horror,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very old.
It looks like Doom, but
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Different skin.
it should be on here. I have no idea where you'd throw it, but the influence of it, I would say, should be on here.
in the trash. Okay,
Cool.
moving on.
Mortal Kombat 11. So
Oh boy.
I don't know what the rest of this list looks like. There's absolutely no reason why 11 should be on here over 2.
Well, let me tell you
The
why.
reason is
It's
it
quite
has all the
simply
characters.
it's quite simply one of, if not the most complete fighting game in existence.
It's a great game.
Not
It
disagreeing.
looks amazing. It looks amazing. For if you're into Mortal Kombat and you know like the Mortal Kombat games, I get it. But I feel like I would just personally pick 2. 2's like the game that put that thing on the map. What
Yeah,
made
if
everybody go
11's on
absolutely.
here and 2 isn't, it's wrong.
It's just like this, okay? Street Fighter 2 better be on here, right? That's got to be the most influential fighting game of all time.
Soul Calibur better be on here.
And it's like if they put 4 on here or 5 because it's like the newest one, something, it's like because the net code. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? I don't know. Anyways, so we'll see what happens in Mortal Kombat. Persona 5 Royal, I know absolutely nothing about Persona 5. The weebs will be loving it. Maybe it should be higher, maybe it shouldn't.
Should be on here, just from what I know. Never played it, know very little about it. Just know it's a massive game.
Yeah. From the little that I know about Persona, I know people love the 4th game. Maybe 4 should be above 5. Moving on. Dark Souls at number 80. It's a tragedy that this thing is this low. What is... I don't understand it. So Joe and I talked about this because we were actually going to record this yesterday, and it ended up getting too late. But we talked for probably 3 minutes, and we're like, we're gonna save it for the podcast. But I'm pretty sure that IGN even said that Dark Souls is like one of the most influential games of like all time.
Cool.
Joe and I were talking about it, and they put it at 80.
PC Gamer named it Ultimate Game of All Time.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree with. But
No, I don't think it's that. But here, there are
is
so many
no
clones.
argument.
So
that
many
this is in the
clones.
top 20 at
Yeah.
minimum.
Easily.
I will make the argument Bloodborne should be higher. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. Moving on to a game that
Dark
is
Souls is what started it.
moving on to a game
Demon's
that is
Souls will start it.
technically apparently better than Dark Souls, Fortnite.
All right, Fortnite.
You guys are gonna shoot me? Hard agree.
I'm gonna hard agree that this should be higher.
Yeah.
From
You think it's better
Or-
than Dark Souls?
I don't think no. I listen. We already established that this list is literal
Boards.
dumpster trash.
Well, that's
okay?
what I was joking about. Is like
Yeah.
they think Fortnite is like slightly better than Dark
But
Souls.
Fortnite,
I agree.
Fortnite
honestly.
should be Fortnite should be in the top 20 also.
Fortnite should be
like
top
this
10.
this game took over the world it's I mean, I don't know how
It's
popular it is
still rolling.
Yeah, it's insane, this game. So, I mean, put it this way, the game is so big that it's had concerts in the game that you could watch. Like, you could watch Travis Scott perform in it. It's insane.
Marshmallow, Travis Scott. There was another one.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah, that's who it was. Like,
Yeah.
huge names in the music
It's
industry.
It's crazy. I
They
mean,
have
Drake and
partnerships
Ninja.
with Marvel. Like,
Yeah.
this game is massive.
They got Kratos. I think they got Master
Yeah.
Chief.
Yep.
Wolverine.
Yeah, it's
All
listen.
massive.
The game is
It's absurd what
it's
this game
absurd.
has accomplished.
Yeah. So
Especially due to the fact that it's not even like the game; it's just a mode in the game.
yeah.
yeah.
It's so it's kind of a meme, right? But two things. I think Fortnite has actually gotten better with time, especially with this current updates. But they're really stuck to like they're really nailing like the meta stuff, you know, like getting partnerships to like get stuff into the game. And I really feel like Fortnite is what Facebook is trying to do with meta, you know, like they just have all these references to everything in the game. You know, I got on there with Joe a couple months ago and running around like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then Wolverine charged me
and we're just
and
like,
just
what?
murdered me. Like I put a whole clip in him while he was running at me, like Knights of the Holy Grail. It's just like okay, and he just murdered me, and I was like, okay.
And even taking that like back to our little pre-show, they're massively partnered with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did just put out like a Star Wars thing.
That's happened a few times.
That's
Like,
crazy.
And the way that
constant.
they like alter the map with like, you know, different themes. You know, they had two mech warriors, like a beast and a mech, like fighting while everybody was doing the game. And then Warzone was like, that's a really good idea. Here's Godzilla and King Kong fighting. And you just like unload your bullets into them, you know, like what it is.
What Fortnite has done for gaming and like bringing it to such a wider audience is it honestly can't be explained right now. Like in 10 years, people are still going to be talking about Fortnite.
It's wild. It is absolutely wild.
It is the 11th most grossing game in the world currently.
Once again,
79.
Number 79 on the list. All right, moving on.
78. Fable 2. So the Fable games are huge back in the day, and man, they have died out completely, haven't they? I don't know if this is something that I would say 100% makes the list.
Fable 2, in my opinion, a game I've played very little, but
I played Fable 1, and I have played a little bit of Fable 2. I know what the games are about. I understand what the appeal was, but I don't know.
better
this
RPGs.
Would be something. Yeah, this is something that I would say you put like towards like the 199.
Yeah,
whatever,
I agree.
like,
It's probably a
make
little
it-
overrated.
Yeah,
But it
I would say
definitely,
it's a lie.
I think it could fight its way into the list and have like a very solid argument.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't disagree that it should be on the list. I just think that this is like one of the ones that you put towards the back end.
This
So-
is like one of like 2 or 3 so far that we've been like, yeah, needs to go down, not up.
Yeah, exactly. GoldenEye 007 though at number 77.
Mm.
This
On the
has to
list.
be higher, I think, just
Yes.
because of this was the FPS like multiplayer game. Like I don't know what would happen without this game for FPS games, but
If you were to, what do you call it
It's
whenever you take a game and you like make it look like it was made for an older console?
like a demake.
Yeah, demake. If you take like what's the Siege Rainbow Six Siege? If you took Rainbow Six and D made it, it would have, GoldenEye. It would just have all those. They had little bots that you would drive through the ventilation and first person shooter. Are you kidding me? Like, it's so crazy. It's such a good game.
I feel like all I'm gonna say is it should be on the list higher because of the influence. And it's kind of rough going back just because, man, you missed that right stick.
Yeah, I can't really say I would know where to place GoldenEye, but I would like throw it up on the board. Like, okay, we
Yeah.
know it's gonna make the list, but I'm gonna fill a slot with it. Like I don't know where it's actually gonna land.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
said.
definitely going to be a bridge spot, and I think 77's fine. Like,
I think
you
it's
could
fine.
convince me higher, you could convince me lower really easily.
I think, I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna say it's probably an actual decent place for it because I could see it being higher just because of the influence, but I'm forgetting there's a lot of influential games.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's a lot, so it's probably a good spot. The 76 Smash Bros. Ultimate definitely should be on the list. I would say it's probably fair. This is, in my opinion, the best Smash Bros. Game. I know people are gonna go and say Melee. It's gonna go back and forth between those. I just think that for everything that's in this game is just what makes this just has everything that you could ask for a Smash Bros. Game. So
Mhm.
I would just pick this over Melee for a generalized audience also.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what you're looking at. You're looking at influence and like everybody.
When it
right?
comes to games that kind of iterate on themselves, like Smash Bros is just Smash Bros and the graphics get better. So like the next Smash Bros that comes out is going to be the one, like it just kind of keeps going, in my eyes, that's how I see it. So
I'd say it's a fair spot. So we can move to Spelunky 2. At number 75, which I know that this game has a lot of love, and I actually do like the game. I own it on PS4, PS4, PS5, and I've played a decent amount. Fun little roguelike game, and Spelunky, the OG game, is kind of like the game that made the procedural generation roguelike game a thing. So that's, I think, the reason why they're giving it the nod. I don't really know why they gave the nod to the second one, if that's the reason. Maybe it's just that much better. I never played the other ones. I only played the second game. So, I'd say it's fair, or maybe you could put it lower. So, just because of that influence, I could see it being on there.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion about this. I know it's highly rated.
Like I said, the roguelike stuff, I mean, I think everybody knows how crazy, insanely popular they are. But
Yeah.
74, Return of the Obra Dinn, though.
No clue.
So this game looks cool. It honestly does. It's a 1-bit game. It's basically like, looks almost like Game Boy style. And it's a kind of like a mystery game where you're trying to solve like a murder or something. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know much.
I never heard of this game until reading through this list real quick. I've never heard of a 1-bit game before this. I knew what they were, I just didn't know what it was officially called. I am super interested in this game.
I actually am too, now that I've seen it on the list.
Yeah, I don't know
I
that
feel
I
like
could.
it's
It sells for $14 on Steam, which seems high to me, but
same for me. I'm like, get this in the single digits here, and I'm speaking my language.
Yep.
But well, I guess we really can't comment on it because none of us have played it. None of us really know anything. It's like the first time all of us heard anything about it. So, Dota 2 at number 73. So, you guys will know a lot more about MOBAs, so I'll let you guys take the reins here.
It hurts me that this is Dota 2. But outside of that, go Bravo. You know more.
I feel like the fact that Dota 2 and League of Legends are not neck and neck on this list is bothersome. Not to say that one is like better than the other, but they're, when what are you gonna do? You know, I couldn't tell you which one's better or worse. I probably have a bias towards League of Legends, but you know, League. I would probably just look at the numbers and see that League of Legends has made more monies. So like, okay, League is supposed to be better. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know the
If
place.
this was Dota 1, you can convince me that it's higher than League. Otherwise, they should be 2 spots, and they literally should be like 73-74 League of Legends Dota,
Yeah.
and just let the fan bases have a bloodbath that's going to ensue.
Let them fight.
Devil's
Yeah.
advocate. Devil's advocate here. The reason why I might put Dota ahead of League is because it treats its community, as far as like the competitive nature,
Love it.
actually better. Because like a lot more of the cosmetic purchases and stuff go straight to basically the pot, and then they have the international, which is the largest.
I think it's just considered like the largest esports event.
The largest monies, like the biggest. I don't know how to say that right now. They
the
have
largest
the
prize
largest
pool in
prize
game.
pool, yeah, in the world. You know, every year it's the largest prize pool in the world, and it just like keeps growing.
And it's like, I think almost completely technically community funded based on in-game purchases.
Yep, and
Which is
anybody
just a
can.
super cool
Yeah,
concept.
it's the international is just a giant tournament, like a big old Las
Like-
Vegas tournament where you go.
We just sign up
Yep,
the old Envision crew here, and
Yep.
we go play
you get your
and
you
get
get your
clapped
gang
round
and
one and fly home.
there you go.
Sounds like my kind of tournament.
Moving on.
All right, moving on. 72 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I would say we don't know if there's another Mario Kart game on here. I'm taking a guess, reading Joe's mind. It's probably between Double Dash and maybe this one.
Yeah, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe belongs on here because it's by far the best kart racer game. I don't know what the actual genre would be.
Yeah.
Double Dash, you could easily put on here as well, either in its place higher or lower.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Double Dash higher.
I'm kind of sadly, even though I have a lot of nostalgia for stuff, I would probably put this on the list just because similarly to Smash Bros. Ultimate, I feel like with DLC and stuff, they're gonna try to make this game into like the ultimate Mario Kart game.
Yeah, and they're actively doing it, adding a bunch of old maps through
Yeah.
DLCs.
So because Mario Kart's Mario Kart, if they got I know the game plays well. We all know Mario Kart's great. If they keep adding stuff to it, this easily is the best kart racer out there. So yeah,
easily on the list.
Yeah,
my only
where it
thing
goes,
is Double Dash could be in here, could not be, and
Yeah.
you can make arguments for both. I'm a
agree.
Double Dash guy.
I
love Double Dash too. I do love Double Dash. Moving on to 71. Yeah, I don't know if you got anything Bravo to
Nope.
say.
Donkey King
Donkey Kong, OG
Higher.
arcade.
Higher, way higher.
Yeah.
This definitely should be up there. Donkey Kong is insanely influential for how they do the arcades. So, kind of wild. I'm guessing they're gonna rank things from the older days, like
Lower.
I'm guessing pre-NES stuff. They're gonna rank it like kind of harshly, even though it should be ranked a little more fairly. Like this is clearly something that should be up there with how. I mean, there were like coin shortages from how these arcade games were. How popular they were. So
Donkey Kong is the 22nd highest grossing game in the world.
That is absurd to me.
Yeah, that's
with quarters or dimes or whatever.
That is insane.
That is absolutely bonkers.
Now, what I want you to do, Bravo, is take however much money it made and then multiply it by 4.
That's
so we
already
know how many
40.
quarters were thrown around.
Well, there's definitely been physical releases for this game too. Like I'm pretty sure
I
it
know.
also came out on the NES and that, but you know a majority of that came in quarters.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and it has been released on so many things.
Yeah,
So.
the game deserves to be way higher than 71.
So number 70 though, we got The Sims 3. Sims is big. I have no idea which one you put on.
It's 3.
Okay.
And the main reason being that like there's just more 2, 3, like originally outside of all the 500 DLCs for The Sims 4. But Sims 4 has also been adding content for way longer than 3 had a lifespan. 3
Okay.
was definitely the best Sims, and I still play The Sims 3 without even batting an eye at 4, which I do also play, but not as much.
That was good. All right.
Yeah,
69.
Nice.
Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. First of all, number 1, this should be Mort's Chicken because 69 is safe for that one. And 2, I don't even think this is. I would say 1, does Splinter Cell games in general, do one of them make the list? And 2, I don't think it's Chaos Theory. If it is, just from what I know,
The second or third one.
I honestly don't know much about it.
I think it's the second. Pandora Tomorrow is the third.
I just feel like this name doesn't ring a bell to me of being like the one that people like go crazy over. But
okay, Chaos Theory was the third, and it was
Okay.
the best of the Splinter Cell games.
all right,
There
I
you
had
go.
to see the cover art.
So
does Splinter Cell make the list? No.
all right, yeah, I would say the same thing. I don't know. If it were to make the list, it would have to be something like 100, literally, to me. But moving on, Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. This is a pretty big speedrun game. That's how I honestly know it a lot of from watching like Trihex speedrun it. I don't know where it lands, honestly. I mean, it's an OG, real good Mario game, but obviously we're gonna see original Mario World 2, or original Super Mario World.
We're gonna see plenty of Mario games for
We're gonna
sure.
see a lot of Mario games. I could see this one being like cut out for something maybe that didn't make the list or something.
I'm
Yeah.
actually sad that this doesn't even like register on my memories because I didn't realize there was a Mario World 2. So I need to
So
go play
this is the one with Baby Mario, the crying and the Yoshi. You basically play as Yoshi.
Yep.
So
This game, I feel like 68's high based on what we've seen under it.
yeah,
Easily argued to be on the list. I could probably be convinced not too difficultly to take it off. But if Splinter Cell gets in the list, Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island gets
put it
in.
this way, you can make a list if you really wanted to of basically like 10 franchises. This entire thing.
Yeah,
It's like
without
every
a doubt.
Mario game, every Legend of Zelda game, every, just go down that list and there you go. So I'm curious to see what other Mario games they throw on here. Because to me, you've got 3, 64, and World still. And then do they put Odyssey on there?
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see. But going on to 67, we've got Silent Hill 2, which I'm trying to not be biased. I think this definitely should be higher. I'm trying not to be biased. Bravo. How about this? You're going to give us the non-biased opinion.
Does Bravo know anything about Silent Hill 2?
So he knows, I think he at least knows the influence that it has from somebody who isn't a fan of the series, who hasn't played it, whatnot. But at least what it's done for horror games and as a whole. This is.
Hey, I want to point out I've also never played this game, so
here's the thing.
my point stands.
Here's the thing. What did Silent Hill 2 do that Silent Hill 1 didn't do?
A, better atmosphere. B, better character development. C, better overall storyline.
Okay, so Silent Hill 1 should not make the list.
Correct.
Correct.
So, all right.
This is like the Silent Hill game. Like, if there's gonna be
Yeah,
a
if
Silent
you're
Hill game,
yeah,
this is the one.
without a doubt.
So
this is the best.
that's what
Silent
it is.
Hill
I
game.
mean, from my limited perspective, it's the same as Dota and League. I feel like Silent Hill and Resident Evil should probably make the list one time and be right next to each other. Like, because the horror games are all about the atmosphere and like how invested you are into the story and like maybe some like historical mechanics, like, oh wow, they really, you have to put these puzzles together, something brand new that made it, cut its own path in the genre or like create the genre, whatever that is. So like, I just don't actually I think I can. Resident Evil is higher on the list than Silent Hill, if I remember the order right, because Silent Hill was the American attempt to make a Resident Evil, or is it the other way around?
So Resident Evil came out and basically created and defined survival horror.
Yep.
Silent Hill looked at it and went, "Oh, that's good," and it was the Japanese take on American horror.
Okay, yeah, okay. I had
So
the country
here's
wrong. But...
here's essentially what I'm thinking on for this. Horror in general is kind of a niche genre in reality. Even though it's a big thing for us, it's honestly very, very, very small. Which is why I'm trying to think in a non-biased opinion, this actually might not be a bad spot for it.
Well, I'm going to put it this way. While Resident Evil 1, I think, should obviously be high on this list because of the fact that it defined, whatever term you want to use, survival horror. Silent Hill took survival horror and I'm going to say made and defined psychological horror games.
It did. Yep.
Therefore, it should have a higher place. I'm not going to say Silent Hill 2 should be like top 25, but definitely top 50 without a question in my mind. And that could be anywhere from 45 to 50. Like, and I could be happy. But this is a little low.
I can see it. I think it's kind of close. So we'll see what's going on here from now on. 66 Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This is probably the. So here's the wild thing. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. There was like some like those Data is Beautiful videos where they show play and stuff. This game is still like forever was like top 10.
Yeah, it's
games.
absurd.
It's insane. So, curious of what they do with the Grand Theft Auto. I mean, 5's got to be.
5's going to be on the top of this list.
Yeah.
I tried to stay away from like the top 10 reading what was in there outside of what I knew number 1 was going to be.
Yeah.
But there's no way they don't put GTA 5 in the top 10, even though I disagree.
I agree with that too. I mean, it's insane the amount of numbers, but
San Andreas and Vice City, I feel both should be on this list.
I could see cutting one of them.
I think for the games we've seen under this, Vice City easily could have taken at least 10 of the spots.
Vice City could have taken Splinter Cell Chaos Theory easily.
Yeah.
So,
I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think you have to put one of the GTA games from the past, so like Vice City or San Andreas would be my pick. I'd probably pick San Andreas because there's things of that game I think they really nailed, and Vice City lacking thereof. And we know from our deep dive that we did last year that like GTA was just pumping games out for a while. So like not a whole lot of time to like perfect or like really like refine the game. So like my thinking is you have GTA San Andreas on the list and like it defined the genre, it like created this type of game, and then you have GTA 5 as like the magnum opus, you know, like they perfected it. Like, here you go, this is what you're gonna play for the rest of your life, you know.
I'm gonna make a counter argument to myself. If we're talking between Vice City and San Andreas, GTA 3 should be in before either of them.
No,
Based
feel like
on
that's
impact or
yes.
influence.
Yes. So I would say if you were going to go, so just to get it out there, and I think we did talk about it on the podcast, Vice City is my favorite one of the three,
Same.
personally. But I would make the argument between 3 and San Andreas because 3, while was a little,
it was small and
yeah, a
clearly
little
their first
smaller. Yeah,
take on
exactly. It was their first attempt at a 3D open world style
and it
game, right?
completely changed 3D open world style games.
It did. And San Andreas is just like
The better version of it.
here's the PS2 game, and here's everything that we learned from the past, however many years it was between that game there. So I think it's fair. I could say this could be even like top 50 as well. So
yeah, just based off the franchise's like overall impact. Because I mean, it literally is one of the main things that created the ESRB.
Yeah,
the franchise. And
anyways, man, we're not going through this quick, but it's all right. It's gonna be a long episode, boys. Strap in.
I say we just go to 50 and maybe do a part 2.
I say we just speed up and hit some more key points. And
yeah, we'll see. I think these two we might not know much about. So XCOM 2, I don't know if you guys have played much. I played a little bit of
this game.
I also hate this game.
All right, I played a little bit of XCOM. It's fun. I don't know if it should be in the top 100 though. So
the game should be in the top, but I do hate this game.
All right. Control, never played it. Heard a lot of good things though.
I own this game like 3 different ways, and I've still yet to play it.
I got it on
just
PS5.
Throwing it out and all the different. Like I have it on Xbox, I have it on PS5, I have it on PC because it's literally been given out free so many different places. And I'm like, maybe I'll play it on here. Nope.
Ooh, piece of candy. All right. From what I've heard, it's good. So maybe we'll see. 63 Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, definitely on the list. Probably top 25.
This is
because this is like
this game basically made arcade first person shooter like mainstream, especially online multiplayer.
That was my argument. I was gonna say is like this is when I think of like Xbox 360, like back in like
all the racial slurs and nasty things I've heard about my mother.
Oh my god. I didn't want my mom to hear all that stuff. But
if there's another Call of Duty on this list, it's Modern Warfare 2.
So Modern Warfare though should get a huge nod with how insane they made. I mean, this franchise is just a juggernaut. But
and it started with this game.
Yes, exactly. So anyways, 62 Rise of the Tomb Raider. Absolutely, Tomb Raider should be on here. I don't know. I'm guessing this is their one Tomb Raider game they're putting on here. And I'm going to, even though I like the first game better, personally, I'm going to agree with them.
The first of the reboot?
Yes.
Or okay. I could see them putting an old Tomb Raider in here too.
I can also. I
don't expect it.
I don't expect it either.
But I would easily be on board for it.
With how, exactly. So, one, obviously having the diversity of having a female lead for the old games. So Lara Croft is just super influential in that way. And then the reboots of these games are also just like some of the best third person like action games
in general.
Yeah, they're insane. So Gears of War fans out there, if you haven't played it, it's very good. And I see why they picked the second one,
And I agree with this placing 100%.
I'd say it's good placing. I'd say they did well with it.
10 above or below 50. Right where
Did you play it, Bravo?
No.
Okay.
But I've actually watched a lot of YouTube over the Tomb Raider games. It started off with one where it was like this overall story of Tomb Raider and how absolutely redonkulous it gets, and then that got me curious about the rest of them. So I like without playing them, I actually know quite a bit about them.
Yep.
Okay.
Reboot
Uh,
series, awesome, all three.
Yeah. 61, Batman Arkham City. I personally, once again, like the first game, Arkham Asylum, better. But uh man, these games are pretty good.
I like the
Um
tone of Arkham Asylum better, but Arkham City is definitely the best of the.
Okay.
yeah. So I'd say the placement's pretty fair, honestly.
Yeah.
I've
So
played Asylum and not City, but
Asylum's great. Asylum is I'm like I said, very biased, very towards what I enjoy. I like confined like areas. I like to like kind of, all right, I'm going along my route. Got a little bit of side paths to go along, but basically staying straightforward, and it's nice contained experience. You get your little fix in
I
quick.
always have a straightforward objective.
Yeah.
mhm.
So it's nice.
Arguably the best superhero game,
I'd
in my opinion.
I'd say probably. It's probably between that and that new Marvel Spider-Man game, but
Yeah.
I
I
played it
was
a
about
little
to say
bit.
I was like Spider-Man though, the
Yeah.
PlayStation.
I could see PlayStation 2 Spider-Man being on here actually with
That was
I really
that one
loved
was
that
really
one.
Mm.
I feel
So
like that's more nostalgia goggles than anything though.
probably. Yeah. I haven't played those in a while, but 60, we got Dishonored 2. So I've only played the first Dishonored game. And this I feel like is what Thief would have been in like modern times. So because they're
Funnily enough, it literally is.
yeah.
I don't know if you played like Thief. I think it was 2013. May have been 12. But I played Thief before I played Dishonored, and I couldn't play Dishonored because it was identical to Thief.
Hmm.
So I
So
never made it through these games.
I liked Dishonored 1. It had the it also had a little bit of that Bioshock feel to it
Yep.
with like the art style. I
I do
feel
know
like it's
2 is
hard.
better in most
It's
accounts than 1, so belongs on the list. Fine
yeah,
spot.
I'd say it's hard for me to judge it where it belongs on the list or anything, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I think Dishonored 2 makes the list over 1 just because it's perfected the
Yeah.
yep,
what it is.
I agree. The Witness at 59. So this I know is a puzzle game, and that's about all I know. And I know it has a very high praise. So, what do you guys think?
I got nothing, brother.
Never heard of this game.
So this is from what I've heard people say, the game's like actually difficult. Like the puzzles are very hard. So I got no prayer. I'm not even gonna attempt it. I can barely
All
do
I'm saying
Silent Hill
is just
puzzles.
looking it up on Steam, I added it to my wish list. That's all I have to say.
Oh, beautiful. All right, we'll say I because of how positive I've heard everything. I'll say probably it's pretty fair. Journey at number 58. Have you guys played this before? Say anything.
Have I seen this one?
Is it like you roam around the desert kind of thing, like
Yes.
very bright
Okay.
colors? Yeah.
Played maybe 5 minutes of it. Was super into it. Never finished it, so don't spoil.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about it. It's a interesting experience, and I enjoyed it. I would probably say it would be lower. Just
I
to
would
be.
agree, just because of the fact that there's just so many other good games we've
Put
already
it
went
put it
through.
this
And
way. The game and I'm not saying that the length of games and whatnot, but it's like you could finish this like if you wanted to finish it right like tonight, you could do it easily.
Hmm.
It's like probably close to 2 hours long.
I might take that challenge.
Yeah. It might even be less, honestly. It's good experience. I wouldn't you could kind of talk me to keeping it on here or putting it off. I would probably say like 90s if I were to say anything.
Okay.
57 Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. For me, I do think this is on the list, obviously. Uncharted is
It's the best
phenomenal.
Uncharted game.
This is considered to be the best one. I don't know how 4 stands up. I still haven't gotten around to it. blows my mind.
I think it belongs on the list, but I think it has to be lower. Not
Yeah,
much lower, but I feel like Rise of the Tomb Raider is above this game.
see, I like Tomb Raider better than Uncharted also, which I know is probably very unpopular for
Yeah.
most people.
And I think
But-
that also comes to some nostalgia goggles because I grew up with Lara Croft and I didn't with Uncharted.
Here's the funny thing. Both the games are set in like a
It's
snow
essentially the same game.
snowland. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So, yeah, I don't know how you feel, Bravo.
I've got no
obviously-
opinion. I
All right.
don't know why one would be above the other, but I understand it. Moving on.
Yeah, 56 is Overwatch. You guys will have more to say about this as I know about it, but I haven't played anything. So,
I don't care enough about Overwatch to look into it, but I don't remember which ability-based game came out first, like the multiplayer combat game, but I just have such a bias towards hating Overwatch these days. I just
We actually, a few Discord members and I have been playing this game the past few nights.
okay.
I've never really liked this game or appreciated anything about it outside of its characters. Should it be on the list? Yes. Probably right where it's at, around 50.
yeah.
We'll say it's fair. Moving on to 55, Apex Legends. Talk away, boys.
If it's
I've
on
never
this
played it.
list, it should be bumping to 100 because it's one of the big MOBAs, or not MOBAs, excuse me.
Battle Royale games.
Battle Royale games. There's just better. There's Fortnite. This game is just like basically a Titanfall mod.
This is what I don't understand. Why is this above Fortnite?
No reason at all.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about, but I know that they're both Battle Royale games, and it's like Fortnite is like the Battle Royale game that everybody knows about. Everybody's played it. It's like
Yeah.
what made the genre, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the reason why Apex Legends is a thing.
Here's a reason why it should not be higher than Fortnite. Apex has seen its share of growing pains over the years. Okay, so it's had trouble over the years, yet you list it higher than a game that hasn't really had any troubles.
That has like went up and then plateaued and is just sitting at the same point.
Yeah, single-handedly, Fortnite is keeping the Epic game launcher afloat, and
Yes.
Apex is
It's
like,
literally paying for them to give us free games every day.
yeah. Anyways,
Needs lower. I wouldn't even put it on the list.
Based on what you guys are saying, I wouldn't put it on the list.
yeah,
54 Hollow Knight. So, I played this game for about 20 minutes, and it's cool. It was one of those things picked up. I liked it a little bit. Art style's awesome.
Oh
And
my
then
god, the art style is one of my favorite in video games.
Yeah.
I don't like 2D games, like modern 2D games. I adore this game, and I'm only a few hours in.
yeah.
It definitely should be on the list. I haven't played it enough to say where, but from what everybody says, it's top of the line. I'd probably say it's fair spot.
And I have a feeling when the second one comes out, it's going to be above this. But I feel like this is a fair place for where
Yeah, I
Hollow
agree.
Knight sits.
Fair place. Definitely easily makes an argument to be on the list.
All right, 53 with Miss Pacman. So now I'm starting to think about when we were talking about Donkey Kong, right? Donkey Kong should definitely be up there, but I feel like we're starting to get to the point where we're saying
There's like
that should
50
be-
games in our top 25.
there's 50 games in top 25. So now I'm starting to think, all right, is it fair? Because Mrs. Pac-Man obviously is like huge, and it just is better than regular Pac-Man.
Yeah.
So I honestly think it's probably a fair spot.
I think it's a fair spot for Miss Pac-Man, but I still feel Donkey Kong should be higher.
I do think Donkey Kong should be higher than Pac-Man.
I don't understand why Miss Pac-Man is on the list.
It's
You
kind
put
of the same reason of like Donkey Kong.
It's
Just
you put
it was that
Pac-Man.
huge.
Yeah, you put
I mean, this
Pac-Man or you put
essentially
Miss
was one of the,
Pac-Man. Like
yeah,
So Mrs.
exactly the
Pac-Man,
argument. Miss Pac-Man's just the better version.
yeah.
yeah,
So there you go.
that's legit. Anyways, we can move on because, like I said, I think it's fair.
Counter Strike.
52.
Yeah, Counter
Yeah.
Strike specifically 1.6. I don't know
Do
if
you
that
guys know
means.
why 1.6 over 2.0 or something? I don't know what it means.
I'm pretty sure they were released. It's like its own release. It's not like it's a specific patch.
Gotcha.
I mean, this is like why we know modern Counter-Strike as modern Counter-Strike.
So I played Counter Strike on the OG Xbox.
Yeah.
As funny as that sounds.
Yep.
The game's amazing. I think it should be on there. Yeah, I think it's fair.
Yeah, it definitely belongs on here. Probably about where it is. And this, I mean, I'm pretty sure 1.6 is the one was on the original Xbox. So
All right. Yeah. 51. We got Left 4 Dead 2. So I love Left 4 Dead 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I literally played Left 4 Dead 1 so much that like my Xbox would like overheat and stuff. It was insane. But I'm gonna come out and say I think it should be lower.
I'm gonna agree.
I think
On
it's
the
a
list
great
for
game.
sure.
Yeah. I think it's a great game, but there are just so many better games, even though like this is one of my probably top played games, like for hours wise. Oh well, the first game is.
Yeah.
But Left 4 Dead 2 is just strictly better than Left 4 Dead 1, so
Yeah.
on
the list, probably lower.
Yeah, I agree with that. 50. All right, we cracked top 50. Earthbound.
No.
You want to elaborate?
Just I don't see a reason why it should be on the list. Call me, biased against like cutesy games or whatever, but it's just I don't see any like major contributions it's done to the gaming universe, gaming community, whatever you want to call it, to make it on the list.
Okay.
I think it all comes down to the characters in the game, realistically.
Yeah.
If it's on the list, I feel like it should be lower, but I know this game has a massive fan base, and
It's like a cult following.
Yeah, it's basically in the same right as like Silent Hill. It's kind of a niche, but it has a massive fan base.
It's hard for us to say because we're not.
Yeah, I'm not a big Earthbound guy.
I've tried to play it. I wouldn't even put it on the list either. But trying to be open minded a little bit. If I were to put it on the list, you'd sell me at like probably in the 90s myself. So that's just me. All right. So
let me just kick back, relax.
You're cut off.
I'm gonna tell you
2.5 minutes.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think it's a fair spot. It's as simple as that.
I agree.
I think it's exactly where it's supposed to be. I think the game for me is, it's my favorite game of all time. But when I'm looking at everything else, like it is a very influential game. If people don't think it is, but the game 100% is like they actually nailed the spot on where it should be.
I think this is probably the most accurate spot we've seen so far.
Yeah. So
nice.
I think it's kind of funny. So whatever. But 48. So it's kind of funny. Well, might as well show 47 as well along with it. We got the whole entire little crew of Starcraft and World of Warcraft there. So Starcraft, honestly, I think these are probably fair spots. Maybe World of Warcraft would be the one I would argue that could be higher because of the influence it had for MMOs. And that's the only reason why, because I don't think it's a good game. But you know, I see why they kind of threw them all together. It makes sense to me.
Games Workshop, while you're watching this, I just want you to know that should say Warhammer 40K Starcraft or whatever. You ruined it for yourselves. And I think it should be on the list. This is probably a good spot for it.
I love RTSs. I never played StarCraft. I'm more of an Age of Empires Command and Conquer guy. StarCraft, without a doubt, belongs on there just based on like the massive following and
Yeah.
esports around in the late '90s in general around it.
World of Warcraft.
God, I hate that game.
Yeah.
Oh, I
God,
hate
do I
it.
hate it.
I absolutely hate the game,
It
but
should be higher. It should be top 25. I mean,
that's
I think it
that's
should
the
be
thing. It's tough.
10 higher. 37.
I could, you know,
knowing what else is in the 30s, it's where it should be.
this is what I'm gonna say. Okay, but we're talking about our list, not IGN. If it's our list, I think
This
just
game's at
because
like
of like
80 for me because of how much I
Yeah,
hate it, but it's
well,
at 50 based on.
with how much I hate it, I mean, I'd take the damn thing off the list. I'd take
Agreed.
it right off the list. I'd be like, get this out of here.
This
But,
is ruined gaming.
I've had this game bought for me and literally been paid to play it with people, and I still can't do it.
It's rough. So, anyways, we're not gonna crap on it too much more. So, yeah, I think we can all agree maybe 10 higher, maybe top 25, depending on the week we're thinking. But 46 we got Star Wars Knights of the Republic.
Played little of this game, but I've watched a friend who is literally obsessed with this game.
That's the
And
thing.
It belongs on the list, probably lower.
That's what I'm thinking. Everybody that's played this. So I played this when I was a kid, actually, which is weird because I never watched Star Wars, but I got talked into it somehow, and it was cool. My buddy who's a Star Wars fan, he picked up like there was some. I think he picked it up, and it's like backwards compatible on Xbox, something like that. And he said like the game aged like crap, but he never played it when he was a kid.
Yeah,
So
I know people still actively play this and swear it's the best game of all time.
yeah. So I'm gonna agree. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've got any history of Bravo.
Yeah, I have played this game and I look forward to the remake or remaster of it. This falls in the Divinity 2 kind of genre, but just, future sci-fi instead of fantasy based. Like it really puts you in the shoes of whatever kind of character you wanted to have. And it definitely deserves its spot on the list. This would be one of my wild cards where I'm like, well, it's definitely like top 50, but I have to list out the other 49 and figure out exactly like where it goes.
This is making me inspired to where I think we should do this. I think we should make our list and go through it sometime.
I know damn well we will not all be friends after that list happens.
Okay, but hear
No,
me out.
I
Like,
think we
if
could.
we're gonna make a top 100 list, we have to like take our opinions and as best we can put them off to the side. Like the way I would do it is like no opinion whatsoever. I would find like real life numbers and like, like I wouldn't have games of the same genre show up too many times unless they had like things that like influenced gaming. Like
Yeah, it would almost be like me sitting down and
We should do
it'd
it.
be like taking say top 100 125 sports players, right? And then kind of like drafting them and be like, all right, put this, put that or there, whatever. But to me, I think what you do is like you could do it a few ways, or one, all three of us make our own, like we have the same games and we make our own list, and then you do a point system. So, like the number one game gets 100 points. And just whoever ends up getting the most points, that's the number one game because all
We should do it. We should all make our own list and do the point system and base it purely off that.
Yeah, because I think it would be interesting. Because and
We
I'll
just
tell you
have
right
to
now,
agree on the criteria. Like, are we doing most influential? Are we doing?
yeah, because I wouldn't like if we're trying to do this, which I don't want to because we're already getting pretty long here,
Yeah.
but I don't want to get too off the rails. But if we were to do it like as a perfect example, Diablo 2, we all know that's my number one game. I would not put that number one. So that honestly, it probably would be like 50.
Well,
It's
I'd put my number one game number one, and I would have plenty of justification doing so.
I
no,
wouldn't
I
put any of my favorite games probably not gonna make the list.
Yeah.
oh it well your favorite game is Elden Ring. So remember we talked about it.
Well, that one would
Yeah.
make the list, but the
See?
others, no. Like,
Yeah, Mort the Chicken's making the list, damn it. All right.
yeah.
Anyways, let's move on. 45. Well, here we go. Fallout New Vegas.
Agreed.
Um I would say we've got an old Fallout, we got a new Fallout. So this should be it.
Boom.
I don't think any Fallout goes above New Vegas. I think it's the best
Yep.
one.
Boom.
So I agree. Final Fantasy 6. So the fact that they put Final Fantasy 6 this much higher than 7 is kind of weird, but I will agree because I know that you guys I know Joe's never even touched Final Fantasy game.
Never.
I don't know about Bravo.
Never
Yeah.
touched it.
I have
I've
touched
played
Not very much.
I've played a little bit of Final Fantasy 6 myself, and I know that there are a lot of diehard fans that will say that this is the better one. So I would say, kind of similarly to like the Dota League of Legends thing, put 7 and 6 next to each other and just let the freaking fanboys go at each other's throats.
Yeah, it's.
That's what I would say.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd put it lower, and I'd just swap 7 and 6 a spot because of what I've heard.
Yeah, that's I would say put 7. Yeah, I'd say this is where probably 7 should go.
Yeah.
Maybe higher. We'll see. But number 43, Pokemon Yellow. I'm guessing the reason they did this was because it's based off the anime.
Yep.
So makes sense. They're basically this is insert your Pokemon game here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
That's
don't think we should see another Pokemon game on the list.
Mhm.
no, shouldn't. I
100%
would
agree.
I would argue if we're putting a Gen 1 game, you put Fire Red Leaf Green just because it's got the it's got some of like the man, I can't think of it right now.
I know what
Words.
you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's quality of life
regardless,
changes.
Pokemon needs to be higher. It's like the most
Yes.
profitable video game franchise of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
I would say Pokemon's, which we've been throwing around top 25. It is top 25.
I think
That's-
it's top 10,
okay.
just based on
agree.
like the fact that it's the most grossing thing in video games we've seen.
I can see it. I don't hate it. Move on to-
Yeah, so Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, Yellow, so like that, the entire grouping of them is the 30th most grossing game in the world.
Yeah, and I was referencing Pokemon like as a
Oh, like
complete,
the anime, trading
like
cards,
everything Pokemon
stuffed animals.
is the most profitable video game.
Yeah,
franchise.
Yeah.
I agree that there should be one. Like, if I'm making my list, it just says Pokemon.
Yep,
and then you
I agree.
put whatever your favorite Pokemon game is.
And I would pick a Gen 1 because I'm a boomer.
It's me too. Me too. 42, we got Metroid Prime.
This game's
I-
awesome.
I honestly don't know. I haven't played it.
It's Metroid in 3D. It's a Metroidvania in like first person. It's really big. It
Good.
deserves to
Yeah.
be on the list.
Yeah, I mean it's
I feel like
Metroid.
Super Metroid is going to be higher, and
it should.
that's yeah. And then Metroid Prime's right where it should be.
No opinion.
All right. Sounds like it's probably a fair spot. We got Skyrim 41.
Way
the game that you can play on your toaster. Yeah, this thing should definitely be higher.
I would have it like listed like 10 times, one for every time it re-release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put every so basically it's actually number 1 and number 10.
Yeah.
Number 20, 30, 40, 50.
Yes. Yes.
And then you got the VR version. And then you got the PC version. And then you got the re-release PC version.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Number 40 is Resident Evil 4.
I'm
I'm
trying to be unbiased,
yeah,
but this game needs to be higher.
the unbiased nature makes me think it's a tad higher. But
I think it's a good bit higher. I think this is higher than Resident Evil 2 Remake by far. Because it literally changed third-person gaming.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And this should definitely be top 25. Just based on that alone. And that's about what I feel about it. Not getting too deep.
Perfectly placed, my opinion.
I feel like every day I could look at this list and be like, I could see a different 25. Yeah, I could literally see like so. I think this game is it could be anywhere from in top 25 to right here, and it's okay based on my mood.
We did the Goldilocks.
Can't be convinced, and I'm talking Wii version because that's the way to play this game.
Wii version's pretty good.
It should be top 25, and I cannot be convinced otherwise. And that's without having a bias towards it, like completely putting that aside.
Number 39, we got Shadow of the Colossus. So, I played a bit of the PS4 remake, and the game's fun. And then I started sitting there thinking, like, why am I killing these giants? And then I turned it off and I felt bad for them. So literally, I'm not even kidding. I felt bad. I'm like, what is this guy's just roaming around? He's just chilling. Probably just pick a couple apples off a tree, and then I just come over here and I stab him in the forehead. Call it a day.
Yeah, I don't know much about this game outside of I know I'm going to play it.
The game has
you're gonna like
very big cult following.
Yeah.
I would argue it needs to be lower.
I don't know much about the history of it, but it definitely like takes inspiration from games that Joe likes and like tells a good story without a lot of words, which is
I'm not insulting the game in any way because I know very little about it. But there's, without a doubt, more than 38 games better than it all time.
That's basically my thought. Listen, the game is known. It's very good.
Mm-hmm. It's strangely high on this list.
It is a cult game. It's like one of those like cult classics. It's like if you were to be like, man, what is that movie? What is that movie with Ash Williams? The chainsaw.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Yes. It's like if you were like, I don't know why I couldn't think of the actual name of it. It's like if you were like, Evil Dead is like one of the top movies of all time. It's like, that's a great movie.
That's a great way to, that's a great way to put it.
It's a cult classic though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a very niche thing. I could see it being on a list, but it's definitely not top 30.
Not
top 40. Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 38. We got Last of Us Part 2. I honestly would say it's probably at a fair spot. Maybe should be lower because Last of Us Part 1 is so much better. That's my only argument.
I haven't beat this game. I got a few hours into it. The Last of Us 1 and 2 are just ridiculously phenomenal story-based games.
Yep.
So
everybody should play them.
My thing right here is like they're the same. They're continuation of the story, right? So like, shouldn't this just say The Last of Us?
Are we just going to say The Legend of Zelda, meaning every Zelda game?
Yeah, that's
because they're different. They're like distinctly different, but
but they're not.
this is different enough. Like the story is 20 years later, so it's not like.
But that's
no,
It's
10
definitely not
years later.
20. I
but
was
that's
gonna
just
say,
the story.
I was
Like
thinking of
it's
I was
not
thinking of the intro of the game.
this
from the
isn't the
first game.
top 100 list of like the best stories. Like, I guess what I'm saying is like it's the same story. I don't know. I guess that's not really true.
yeah,
But yeah, like, it's just
you can make the same argument, but like at the same time, that would completely change the list because technically all Fallouts are like the same thing. And
No, I understand what he's saying, but
do.
I do understand
Both
what
of
he's
these
saying.
games deserve a spot in the top 40. Without
Exactly.
okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. I'll trust you because I haven't played
Yeah.
them.
37.
You absolutely should. You will love them.
Yes, you will. Seriously.
All
37
right.
Red Dead Redemption. I'm
80.
Red Dead
for a second.
Redemption definitely belongs up here, meaning top 50.
Yep.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is just better.
Yep.
But Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare is some of the most gaming fun I've had in a ridiculous amount of time. But these games are amazing. Basically, same boat as
I'm gonna say it's
Last of
fair.
Us. Yeah, basically same boat as Last of Us. Two, basically same story, different people, and they're both ridiculously good games.
And Red Dead Revolver is just better.
So we're looking
Feels like I don't even know
for.
what that is.
I do know what that is, and we're looking
Alright.
for a third host because somebody got let go.
So moving on. 36. Metal Gear Solid, the OG. It definitely is on the list. From just how influential it is, and yeah,
It's a fair spot.
I think it's fair.
good.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect spot.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Bravo? Feeling good too?
Perfect spot, guys. Perfect.
What about Sid Meier's Civilization 4 at 35?
I think Civ 4 is peak Civilization. The versions after Civ 4, for my tailored taste into these games, my very specific taste, once you get to 5 and 6, they just get a little too much for me, and they kind of get away from what I like. I understand them, like what they are, but I feel like 4 is like just enough of like the old simple stuff and enough of the new that it's kind of like it's peak Civ.
I agree. And I feel like it's in a solid spot.
Sounds good.
And I'm a huge Civ fan, so.
All right. Moving on to 34 with The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
IGN, IGN,
Joe.
what are you doing?
Joe, take the reins. So we'll let you let you vent for a minute or two.
Okay. It's the highest rated game of all time. I'm done.
So, well, surprisingly short, kind of like my Diablo 2 one.
Yeah. So much to say, you almost say nothing.
This is this is one of the reasons why I don't understand their mentality. I mean,
Name me one bad thing about this game.
No, the thing, literally all you have to do is be like, okay, this and Mario 64 literally are what are responsible for 3D games, pretty much. Like, it's those two games are so huge that
it redefined action adventure games, but it completely changed the way the industry thought about 3D combat and exploration, and it is ranked number 34. Using your own words, IGN.
Yeah. I don't.
This is arguably one of the first, like, I mean, it probably is the first open world 3D game.
Yeah. So we're getting now to where it's getting to be. These are all amazing games, obviously.
Yeah.
But there are some games that are questionable in the spots, and this is
This
I feel
is
like
the first big no.
I feel like this one, the two that I feel like were the biggest like what are this game and Final Fantasy VII, honestly.
For me, it's this game in League and Fortnite.
Actually, you know what? I question everything, to be honest.
There's
question everything.
no reason, without bias, you could ever convince me this game is not in the top 5, probably top 3.
Yeah,
In my
that
opinion,
was
number 1, without
what I was gonna
adding
say.
bias. You
Top-
could 1, 2, because you could tell me Mario 64 is higher or Donkey Kong is higher.
I would say
All right.
easily top 5.
All right.
Let's hear
Glover.
Bravo.
Glover came out November 16th, 1998. First open world exploration game. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, November 21st, 1998. Drop mic.
Bro,
Boom.
there's 3 people who've ever played Glover.
It's like Glover, actually.
Yeah, 2 of them are here.
I remember I used to get so mad because when I was a kid, I'd try to get there was like steps. You had to bounce the ball.
You gotta bounce the ball, yep.
Gotta bounce the ball up the damn steps. And I was an
Okay.
idiot.
Back to the point. Ocarina of Time, top 3 game all time.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
based on everything, I'm putting it at solid number 1 and would be hard-pressed to be convinced any lower. And the lowest I'd go is 3.
I could see 5.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to argue with myself and figure out like
It's
5
very
or higher. You know.
I have commitment issues. So thing because like I said, I could see things moving around. I could see myself putting Minecraft number 1. Speaking of
Well,
which,
you're wrong.
number 33 is Minecraft, which is another one that's like absolutely wild to me that it's here.
Another top 5.
Yes. And this is what I mean. I could like once you get to that point of like the top 5, kind of like picking your favorite Pokemon, right? It's like there's things that can be interchangeable. It's like this today. It's like I can see this one changing here. I can see this guy switching out to my favorite spot. I don't know.
I can tell you right now, your lists are going to be just wrong, and mine's going to be.
I can tell you right
correct.
now, me and Brad are gonna hit some points in our list where we're literally like ready to brawl. We've hit them before, and we're gonna hit them again.
I see. I think I can be swayed a lot more than you because I'm not like. I'll tell you right now, if you put Breath of the Wild top 10, I will fight you. I'm gonna go to Pittsburgh.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Breath of the Wild is without a doubt a top 10 game.
It's absolutely not.
No.
So, we'll move on. Minecraft. I mean, it's not even a.
What hurts it even more is I don't even put it as a top 5 Zelda game. Not saying that I don't think Breath of the Wild is a great Zelda game, but I think Breath of the Wild is a phenomenal game. We'll get there.
All right. Anyways,
Halo
You have to
Combat
explain that.
Evolved.
All right, 32. Yeah, Halo Combat Evolved. The OG Halo.
This is basically
Did they put Halo 2 in? You think they
No.
put Halo 2 in here?
no. Maybe. No. I don't know. It's IGN. But Halo literally took like what 007 GoldenEye did and did it again. Just redefined first-person shooters.
Halo is definitely on here. And I'd say I could see it here.
And it definitely comes down to its multiplayer, I think, is what made this
Yeah.
game what it is.
I would just say
And the
swap
music.
it for Halo 2. That's what I would say. Just
If
because
we're
I think
going
Halo
most
2.
influential, it's Halo 1. If we're going better game overall, like, it's Halo 2.
I feel like the multiplayer was just like what picked up so much more in 2, though, didn't it?
But it's literally the same thing.
You'd know more than I would, obviously.
I mean,
31, Half-Life. It's Halo. To be honest, you can put pretty much any Halo game. It's Halo. Half-Life at 31.
Okay. Don't know
Everybody
enough
loses
about
their
it.
minds about Half-Life.
And it's literally because of
Half-Life-
the physics engine. Is the only thing I've ever heard anybody talk about in this game.
But to me, it's like Half-Life 2 is
yeah, And
It's the one,
realistically, we're probably going to see Half-Life 2 higher than this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna. We will.
Why are these games on the list?
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14. Okay,
This game was dead.
like
Actually dead. They shut it down.
I think the redemption arc for this game is really, really cool.
It is.
I think that it being one of the best games of all time.
You're telling me this game is
Better than Minecraft, better than
30.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Like,
Number 30. It's that's all you got to do is like if you went up to any person that's played video games like a decent amount and like knows like history of video games and whatnot, right? Grew up playing them, and you're like, hey, what game's better, Minecraft or Final Fantasy 14? Like what game would you say, like, with not a biased opinion, what game do you think is more like of a game that should be in top 100?
Yep.
Ocarina of Time, League of Legends. I mean, like, there's so many. This is something that should be probably off of the top 100. I don't think it would make the list.
I don't put this in. If I'm picking an MMO, it's going to be World of Warcraft. This
Exactly.
game was literally dead.
Yeah. So it's wild. Yeah.
That's
let's
it.
just go on. 29, we've got Doom.
Way higher.
This should probably be top 10 because of the absolute. I mean, this thing was insane how influential it is. So,
I think it should be on the list. I don't think it should be top 10. I realize that it influenced the way things were. So like we could like build a timeline, like you got Doom, you got GoldenEye, you got Halo.
You get Call of Duty.
You can build the timeline out as like shooters like progressed, but I don't know.
I would say
it depends on what the list is, and we don't know what their criteria for making this list is. So whatever.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's no criteria.
29.
Yeah, no, there's not. So this is what I would say. You could argue me down into top 20 based on my mood and how things are going, but because there's a lot of damn games that I could see, like, it's gonna take me forever to make a top 10. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So,
all right, next one.
28, Tetris. This is like the exact same thing.
Exact same thing.
It's literally the exact same thing. I mean, I could see this being. I think it's probably top 10, but I could see top 20, based on the mood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you guys think. If you got any other opinions on it,
Tetris should be higher.
it's Tetris. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody knows what Tetris is.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Grandmas know what Tetris is. I mean, come on. So, 27, we got Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Fine spot. I don't have much to say. Everybody knows this is the best Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. Now, all it does is make me question if Metal Gear Solid 1 should be lower than.
I agree.
That's all I'm thinking of now. But we'll go to 26. Half-Life Alyx. What?
Alyx, yeah, the
Yeah,
VR
Alyx.
Half-Life. I have played this. It was pretty good, but it's like current
I feel like-
VR, but early VR. Like it's.
I feel like in 20 years, this might make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe even 10 years if VR like actually takes off.
This is what I'll say. If you're gonna be like, okay, influential like VR game, like once VR becomes a thing where it's like, oh yeah, this is like the first VR game that blew up for something that was like actual, like not like a Beat Saber, right?
It's not an experience, it's an actual game.
Yeah. So if you were to argue that this is the game that is like the OG Mario Bros, right? That brought the console thing, I would say that this is probably a fine spot.
But I don't think we're deep enough into the VR life that this has any right being in 26.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's a very strange position for it.
In a few years, it may as well be right where it belongs.
It'll
It
be
might end up needing to be higher.
Yeah.
But right now, it's not there.
I agree. 25 got God of War. This is the remake. This
Yeah,
isn't
no.
the so I would this is where I don't know where it lands. This is very
It
hard
doesn't
for
land
me.
in the top 25. It lands on the list for sure.
Oh
top
yeah,
50?
it lands on the list.
Maybe. Top 75 for sure.
Did you play this, Bravo?
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't have a PC. You did play it.
Oh,
you
fuck
played
yeah,
this.
dude.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
it's one of my favorite series. Like I have played every God of War, including the new ones, and I don't own a PlayStation. Like I used my cousin's
Boy.
PlayStation to play through Ragnarok. So
Damn, you
Well,
played
when it
through
comes up.
Ragnarok?
whatever the one is.
It's this one.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I think
got
this
access.
was a good game. It's not top 25 all time. This game did nothing that something else hasn't already done. Besides slap Kratos on it.
Boom.
It's basically kind of similar. It's like the Last of Us type of a game, right? So it's got the story that people
It has a
enjoy.
decent story.
I like the story.
But it's nothing
I wouldn't
crazy.
put it-
We've seen it.
I wouldn't put it above Last of Us, but I don't know. It's hard for me because I haven't touched the game since I platinumed it when it first came out, which was what 2017, 2018, something like that.
Yeah. The game is good. It is a very good game. It has
I'm
done
gonna say-
nothing to earn a 25 spot.
I'm gonna say I could see it being. I could see either way.
Yeah,
I could
it's
see
on
it
the
being
list.
here.
I don't think it's this high.
I could see it being here. Like I could see somebody arguing it, but I could see it easily being lower. Just kind of same thing. In my mood, based on my mood, I could see like I'm like in a super God of War mode. I'm like, yeah, 25, yes.
Yeah.
Put there. Yeah, let's put it there.
There's definitely no right to argue it higher.
All right, Chrono Trigger, 24.
Get it off the list. Get. God. No.
All right. I don't know much about this game.
Is it
All I know is this game is basically the best RPG ever made in most people's eyes.
Here's the question. Is Chrono Trigger turn-based or is it like the more how there was a
pretty sure
game.
it's turn-based.
There was an SNES game back in the day that was like real-time action.
Yeah.
And I feel like if that is this game, that it's then it is actually influential.
It is
Like-
real-time
like Super.
turn-based RPG.
Okay.
Wait. This means that during a battle, the longer you take, the more turns the enemy will receive. So it's basically like there's actually a speed element to the turn base. So like if you sit there and think for 5 minutes, the enemy could input multiple things.
Slap me around with its
Yeah.
friggin' noodle arms or something.
I don't know anything about this game, so I have no nostalgia or bias, but I just
I don't have any nostalgia. I never played the game. I know of it. I know it's like, I mean, this is like one of those games like you go buy the cart, you're paying like $150.
Yeah. It's
It's like one of those games.
I know this game is ridiculously popular. And
Yeah.
I've never really heard anybody say they don't like it. I've only heard great things. And I know it is regarded, like I said, as like the best RPG game.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those games that if we're making the list, we're probably cutting it because we don't know anything about it. But
I definitely wouldn't cut it in my top 100.
I'd probably put it at the bottom of it if I'm putting
Because if
it
I
in
was,
somewhere.
if I'm going to do a top 100, I'm going to list out genres, and every game's top is going to go on the
See,
list.
if I'm thinking of RPGs though, I'm putting Final Fantasy over this.
I'm not.
I'm putting Final Fantasy VII over this all day.
I
Based
mean, this
on
game.
just
I'm pretty sure this game was made with the the Final Fantasy creator Sakaguchi was involved in this.
I need to give this game a try, but just from the limited knowledge that I have, is like no, like just
It's not happening
Yeah.
for me. It's an RPG.
For what I know, this is
I don't
where
have
it
the
belongs,
time.
if not higher.
take it out to pasture.
Yeah, shooting
it. Next, 23.
23. Portal.
It's way
Um,
lower. I don't
yeah.
understand the hype of these games.
Listen,
They're fun games.
I've played Portal. Played it twice actually, and I really like it. I think it's a great puzzle game. It's probably, I would probably say it's the best puzzle game, like for what it is, right? Like first person newer puzzle game. I'd say it's probably like the best puzzle game I've ever played. But there's no way this thing is 23.
No.
I,
And you know Portal 2 is going to be higher because it's just a better game.
Yeah.
I hope not.
So
That's a boring.
we'll see. Street Fighter 2 at number 22. I'd say it's probably pretty fair.
I'd say it's a very
Um,
fair spot.
Yeah, because this is like the fighting game. This thing was insanely influential. So
Hadouken.
yeah, I like it. I like it here
Yep.
actually.
Yep.
Number 21, we got Mario Bros, the original Super Mario Bros. This is where things get funky for me. I see, I could see it here, but I can also
This
see this being like top 5.
this is where it actually comes down to what are we grading based on. If we're
Yeah.
talking influence, this game goes way up.
Oh yeah, yeah. See,
If we're
because
talking about like just best games, maybe up a tiny bit.
yeah, basically it comes down to this: if you're doing influence, this is the number 1 game. Like for
Yep.
Mario wise, like this goes above any Mario game to me because this saved
This-
video games as a whole.
Yeah, this
This
is
literally
Mario.
saved it. Yeah. Number 2, if you're gonna go the route of gameplay wise, then this is probably a fair spot because you got Mario 3, which is just
Better.
strictly better, and then Mario World also, which and then it's just based on your opinion. Some people are
Yeah.
Mario 3 guys, some people are Mario World guys. Girls, whoever plays the game,
Mhm.
I totally could see any argument either way. So I'd say right now, you know what? I could see it being fair.
I see it being fair based on the fact that if we're not going influential, it's fair. If we're going influential, it's extremely underrated.
Yeah. All right. Number 20, Undertale. I know this game is it's the same thing. It's a cult game, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that
Get off my list.
I could pick easily 20 games better than this.
yeah.
Like,
There's
give me 10 minutes and I could pop them out.
there's no
This
Does it
also
make-
released in 2015.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
I could see this thing maybe being like number 100.
This is probably on the list because I know it's super popular.
Yeah,
Not a
that's the thing.
chance in hell it's ever top 20.
No, exactly. But it does have good music. Going on, number 19, we've got Bloodborne. I'm gonna say this. Kind of similar to what we were saying. Depending on influence,
Yeah,
I would say Dark Souls could be higher than this game.
agreed. You can
But-
flop Dark Souls in this game if we're going on influence. If we're going on the better game, it's Bloodborne.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see this game possibly being higher.
I can't see this game being higher.
I could see this being like 15 for like.
Okay, if we're
here's the
talking
thing.
like 5 spots, sure.
I really
guess
got to
I'm-
build
I'm-
it out, you know.
I guess I'm being like nitpicky here. Like if I'm sitting here, yeah, it's fair spot. Let's be realistic. Within 10 spots essentially, 5, 5 up, 5 down, it's in a fair spot.
I could agree to that.
So, Bioshock at number 18.
I haven't finished this game. Don't spoil it.
I'm not
I'm
gonna
working
say
on it
anything.
slowly.
I'm gonna
I
say the
know
same
this
thing.
game is ridiculously high regarded.
Bravo, you played this?
Nope. I own it though.
Okay. I'd recommend you play it. It's definitely a good game. And
From
Would you
everything I
reckon-
know, and I do not know the plot twist that everybody talks about. Like
Okay.
I've actively avoided.
Yeah, I don't know either. So
yeah, don't. Yeah, so don't try not to read anything. Don't look at anything. Whatever.
So, do you recommend
Um,
I play Bioshock or The Last of Us?
The Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Okay. So that
Last of
better
Us
be
is-
higher on your list.
The Last of Us is a ridiculously.
I'll tell you right now.
Would you say it's a pretty close, like, ooh, maybe one or the
Maybe like 18, 17 or something?
other? Because the next game on the list is The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Based on how far I've gotten Bioshock, The Last of Us should be higher.
Last of Us is higher.
Or Bioshock should be lower.
This is what I would say. I think that Bioshock's fair spot. And I think The Last of Us should be like a tad higher. That's what I would say.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what the rest of the games they got here.
We're getting into the meat and potatoes now.
Yeah,
boys.
we're getting to the real big games. So Witcher 3.
Number
I wanna-
16.
I'm gonna let you guys talk about this a little bit because like I've told you. I mean, I've beaten this game like 5 times. I've killed that freaking griffin so many times. I have whooped it.
I just
Uh,
want you to know there wouldn't be any more griffins in the world of The Witcher if how many I've killed.
Yeah. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt definitely makes my list. Definitely top 20. I don't know where it would land. Let's say this is a fair place.
The Witcher 3 is a top 1 or 2 open world RPG. Top 3.
I would say, yeah,
Top 3 open world RPG. And I feel like open world RPGs are very like open to players in general. I feel like this should be top 15. I
Th-
don't know if I'd put it top 10.
this is what I would ask. Does this beat Skyrim?
Yes.
Then if it beats Skyrim, then I think this is a fair spot.
Yeah. I think just
But-
overall this game just offers more than Skyrim.
I think that's essentially the
Mm-hmm.
big comparison here.
I played
So-
through this game like at like a higher difficulty and didn't quite finish it. And then I went back and I played it at the easiest difficulty, and you really feel like a Witcher. Like you really feel like you're kind of like the biggest bad around, and it was a much more enjoyable game, strangely enough, to just like get through the story, because that's what I was trying to do, was just get through the story. But it's just a solid game, and the DLCs for this thing, I really need to go back and play. What is it, the Wine Country or whatever? But anyways,
Yeah,
and Wine.
Blood and Wine, yeah.
Blood, yeah, it's like an entirely new game, like so much more content.
I will say that this is where things are definitely going to probably get hard because
Yeah, top
it's-
15 is going to get tight.
Yeah, you're talking.
Mhm.
It's tough. I mean,
I'll
this
address
game's
it again
nasty.
if another open world RPG shows up on the list. Moving
I
on.
think based on influence, it's a fair spot.
I'd agree. We'll go to Halo 2 at number 15, which where the hell was Halo 1? Was it like 30 or something?
Yes, it was above Ocarina of Time. Yeah, it was,
It was
32.
32. Okay. 32, you got Halo 1, and then you're putting 15 at Halo 2. I don't think that you need both.
I think Halo 1 goes at 15 and Halo 2 drops into like the 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
You could
I
could
can
be
agree with
convinced the
that.
other way, but I feel like that's where they belong.
I feel
Like
like
in the
it's
top 32, it's too much.
yeah, I feel like this game's getting pretty crowded, and there's only room for one sheriff.
That is exactly
Halo.
what I feel. That's my mentality. Is like, listen, I know both games are great, and I know, but
I'd put Halo
they're
3 above both
very,
of them.
but they're both very similar. Yeah, I could see being like, hey, Halo, we're out. You know, we got one spot for you, Halo.
Yeah, I just don't know how to describe it. Like, if a game is not like any different than its like iterations, like Halo 1, 2, 3, like does it do the story better? Does it revolutionize something about the industry? Like, what is it doing here? Like, is it just better graphics, better pew pew? Is that what we're doing? Okay, so the most recent Halo should be the one on this list.
Not true.
That's kind of like where the mentality is. Like
The most recent Halo is definitely in the bottom 100 games.
well, that's. I mean, I was just using the placeholder, but
Yeah,
you know
I
what I
know.
mean. Like the most recent Halo is garbage because of the decisions they made. But
Yeah.
like the one before that, whatever. Like, anyways, moving on.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's definitely very dependent on the franchise. That's
A
we're
Halo
talking
game
about.
belongs in the top 15. One of the
Yeah.
first 3. You can make an
I'd
argument
agree.
for any of them.
I agree with that. So
Yeah.
number 14 though, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So have you guys played this?
I
I
have
played
to
a little
look.
bit of it.
I have to look it up.
Yeah. So this is the
This belongs.
this is the reason why you hear Metroidvania,
Yep.
because Metroid, Castlevania. So
And
totally
they're
makes
probably only
sense.
picking one Castlevania, and this is
This
it.
is the one. This is the one. Yeah.
What
Totally makes
platform was
sense.
this played on?
PS1.
I have not played it,
So you can get it on PS4, you can get it on Steam, you can get it on everything pretty
but it
much.
sure looks like I need to play it because my Castlevania game looks very similar to this.
Yeah, so your game is the one that's in the GBA games. Like this is the game that came out first, and then they started making the GBA
Gotcha.
stuff.
Okay,
Yep.
so I would probably really like this game.
Yes,
You
100%.
definitely would.
All right, moving on to 13, we got Hades. I did not play this.
I love this game. This is not a top 13 game of all time. On the list, maybe.
Okay, that's
But
kind
it's
of
gonna
how
be
I
low.
felt. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, is this really like top 100 game?
If I'm listing out games, right? I've got my like little tables, like best RPG, best first person shooter, best whatever. Like Hades is like on the table, right? Like it's there. And I'm
Hades is the
like,
best roguelike.
yeah, like I just don't know where it goes.
I don't think the best rogue, based on influence, the best roguelike is Rogue.
Yep.
And we know for sure that game's not going to be with Hades. And in that, Hades does not belong in the top 15.
Mm-hmm.
Hades probably belongs on the list. And in a few years, it probably climbs as time goes.
Yep. That's the other thing too. This is a game. It's kind of like Half-Life Alyx. Of just it's very recent.
Yeah, it's
So
like a young game per se.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to judge like top almost anything. It's just like when you're looking at a sport like an athlete or something, right? And you're like, oh, is he better than Michael Jordan? And it's like he's like 3 years into it. It's like how the
Yeah.
heck do you? How can you judge somebody when
Like,
they're
Talk to me a few years after he retires, and
Yeah,
we'll have
exactly.
an actual conversation.
Yep.
exactly? So we'll see what happens. All right, number 12. This is where GTA 5 falls. And yeah, I could see it being fair here.
I don't have an argument against it.
We're getting to the
Uh,
point where it's like you see a real big name game and you're like, yeah,
This is
I
where
can
they
see it.
belong. Top
Yeah.
15.
It's no surprise, right? Any argument, Bravo?
No, not at all.
All right, number 11. We're going down to, and that is going to be Mario Bros. 3.
Heck yeah.
We've already kind of said this with Mario 1, so
Yeah.
I think it's fine here.
I think if any Mario game's above this, it's wrong. Outside of maybe 64.
Yep.
Except we don't have Mario World yet. We haven't seen that.
This
So
is true. So you could argue Mario World's going to be on this list still, without a
Mario
doubt.
World's probably, this is my guess. You're going to see
I think
If I
Mario
were-
World's going to be top 3.
If I were to be a betting man on IGN, I would say top 5 games are all Nintendo games. That's what
I
I would
don't.
say.
I think we're going to have one outlier, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Portal 2 because they absolutely adore that game.
Little goofballs.
Which is wild. But we'll see. We'll see if that's true.
Mario 3, you could definitely bump it up a spot just based on what I see the next game is.
Yeah, definitely.
And it gets
So
top
number
10.
10, Disco Elysium. Elysium?
Elysium.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's played this game.
Yes.
I know about it, never played it.
It is probably like the RPG game, as far as like decisions, and it has a pretty good setting, and I'm too impatient to play through the entire thing, but I don't think it's a top 10 game. I see
Or would you
this.
say, like, if it were to land, does it land on the list? And if it does, you talking 25, 50?
First off,
25?
I think it's in the same genre as Hades, or the same situation as Hades, where it's like, give us some time to
Yeah,
like process
agree.
this thing. I think it probably makes it on the list, but maybe
What I know, it definitely makes the list.
yeah, but not anywhere near 10.
It's a game that, with time, probably climbs on the list, but right now it's just not top 10.
Yeah,
So now that we're, not to get too sidetracked, now that we're thinking about it, for what we said, it almost makes you think you should put like at least like a 5-year wait list before something can even show up on the list.
Yeah.
And then if that's the case, it's like, that's where like Last of Us 2 doesn't show up.
well,
So I
that
don't-
ruins my plans
Hasn't
to
been 5
put
years.
Starfield as my number 1 game.
In my plans to put Grand Theft Auto 10 on there.
All right.
Dude, I'll be dead.
Seriously, would be. Number 9, Half-Life 2. So I'm not surprised this is on here, but trying not to be biased, I wouldn't put it up here this high, but I know it's very impactful for that gravity gun.
I think it's top 20.
Yeah, that's what I
Maybe
was thinking too.
15. Top 10 just seems, I don't know. Top 10 seems a
I-
little bit high.
Yeah, I think 20 is a good number, just because it can be higher. It could be 15, right? Could be higher. Could be even, could be number 12 or something like that, but you're not committing to. Once you're like, yeah, this game's top 10, it's like,
Really? Is it?
I could tell you right now, I can commit with ease that like Ocarina of Time is easily in top 10, right? I can easily say like Mario 64 World
There
3
should,
could,
without a
you
doubt,
know.
be at least 2 Mario's top 10.
that's what I think. I think you got 64 and then you've got
World or 3.
whatever 2D game you want to pick.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, I'm very curious. I still have that strong feeling we're gonna see all of Nintendo, but we'll see if Portal kills it. Alright.
I almost guarantee it. I literally haven't scrolled past where we're at, so I don't know. But Portal 2 is gonna make, and I guarantee it's gonna be top 3 because IGN loves it.
Yeah.
They love
Number 9, not number 9. Jeez. Number 8 is Red Dead Redemption 2. This is another one that I don't think it's been 5 years. I know
but
it's
this game belongs.
I know it belongs, but does it belong top 10?
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree, but
I can't commit to top 10. I could commit to 20.
yeah.
That's the best you can get me to do.
If you could pick more than one better open world game, and we'll say RPG, what would it be?
I see.
More than
It's-
one open world RPG?
Yeah, like give me one other open world RPG besides what we know is going to be number 1 in this game is the only argument that I would accept over it.
Well, I would personally say that The Witcher 3 is a better game, but that's my personal taste where I like fantasy over Western.
For sure.
Yeah.
I get that. And I do too. But I could look at this game and say character development severely outclasses Witcher.
This is what I would say. The polish in this game is what
Ridiculous.
blows things out of the water. I'm not saying that it doesn't deserve to be here. It's still early on to where I'm like, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, this is like in the same realm as like Ocarina of Time, 64, something like that. Like I just
Yeah, that's where it comes down to like that weird influence or better game.
yeah,
Like what makes
it is.
And this
Exactly.
definitely goes more on better game than influence.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. That's where it's that fine line, which I know that this list for them is probably very hard to create, and it's probably something that they get a lot of
Hey,
crap about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could find 100 different people and you'll probably have 100 different top 10s.
Yeah. So I don't envy them for having like such a large platform and trying to create something, but yeah, I would, as of right now, struggle with like the gameplay and polish and whatnot versus influence and stuff. But anyways, let's get to number 7, which this is where I'm honestly surprised this isn't top 5 for them. Mario 64. I just thought it would have been there.
I could see arguments made to put this at 7, but I know for a fact, because we've already passed some of the other games, that they don't have a good basis of what they have above it.
No, yeah. The fact that they there's a lot of stuff that's like questionable, I feel like, for decisions, so whatever, we'll see. What about you, Bravo? You think that's fair? Or... He's like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
I just don't have an opinion. Like I have to make my list myself. Like, yes, it's top 10.
Yeah.
Innovation and playability. Like I would go back and play this game right now if you put it in front of me. You know?
This is all right.
I
Then
actively still play this game.
Let's not talk about this game, because this game, I think it's like a no question. I think the next game is a question.
Pow, pow, pow.
Number 6, Mass Effect 2.
Get off.
Way lower.
Get off.
These games actually are some of the worst gameplay games that I've ever touched.
So I know the
story of these are good.
I've only played the first game, and the gameplay of that one's terrible, but I've heard that they fix a lot of the combat in the second game.
Okay, they fix a lot of the combat, but not much.
Okay.
The game still is brutal to play.
Now, don't hate me, Mass Effect fans, but I think if you put like the best combat, I still wouldn't be putting this thing top 10. For like gameplay wise, like it.
I know there's ridiculous character development, and I know there's like ridiculous your choice matters, and I know it's like a cool built up world, and I don't even want to put it top 25 because I know how bad these games feel to play.
I agree. I could see this thing. I agree with Bravo. Honestly, get this thing off this. I could get this thing off this. I'm not gonna say 100%. You don't put this in the top 100, but I could see
this is definitely bottom 25 on my top 100.
Yeah, I could see this game like getting the boot out of the top 100. Put it that way. Like if you were to, this is what I imagine when you sit down. You get about 200 games. You get about 200 games, and you're like, all right, here are the genres. You gotta have a good little mixture of the stuff. And I'd be like, yo, Mass Effect's like, this is your RPG game?
No.
It's like, nah. Get that thing out of here.
This isn't even my sci-fi RPG game.
Yeah, I don't I don't understand it. But let's move on. Number 5. All right. I'm right so far. One Nintendo game on the list. Super Metroid. I honestly could see it being here. I think so. I played this game for the first time and beat it. It was probably about 2014 on my 3DS, and it was phenomenal. I don't know if I put it this high, but I definitely see the game being up there. Like, it is amazing.
It's a top 10 game.
Yeah.
I need to, like, I clearly have more research than you guys to do as far as like getting my hands on games, because I don't see this as a top.
It might be a top 15 game.
This is what I was going to say. I think you put this thing right next to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Wherever you put that thing,
yeah,
you got that.
And I put it a step above it, like 1 point, no matter where we put it.
I agree too. I could even honestly see, like, I think your top 25 games, whenever we make this list, top 25 is going to be a bloodbath, an absolute bloodbath, because I could see this thing being in top 10. I could see this thing being 25.
Yeah.
I could see this thing, like, it's so tough. There are so many freaking good and influential games out there. It's very hard to say.
I could come up with 5 more influential games pretty much off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think this is in top 5, but this thing it's an amazing game. Bravo, if you like the Castlevania game on GBA, this is like a must play. All
right.
So
I believe you.
take the word for it. Number 4, keeping the tradition here for me. I'm correct. Another Nintendo game. We got A Link to the Past. So we'll go to our resident Zelda expert here.
This game is phenomenal, top to bottom. It definitely took Zelda to the next level.
Yep, I agree.
I feel like we're in one of those Mario situations. Same thing with Zelda. Like, you could have your classic, like.
Yeah, it's like, do you pick
down.
Zelda 1 or do you pick this game?
Or do you pick like Finish Cap, or do you pick like you have your 2D and 3D Zelda games?
Yep.
If I were to pick a 2D, it's probably this. Does that mean I put it in my top 5? No. Top 25?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, the purpose behind the list, like you said, like when you get to the top 15, purpose behind the list, like, okay, why are we here? Is it the most influential? Is it the most, like, whatever? Like, that's what you got to know. And I just don't think in any of those lists it makes top 5.
No.
I agree.
Unless we're literally talking about like best Super Nintendo games.
Yep.
And even then, there's probably arguments to keep it out of the top 5 in that.
It's a tough world.
No,
tough world.
It hurts because I actually love this game.
Yeah,
like, a lot.
It's tough. All right, we're getting out of the wire. Now we're in the top 3, and it killed me.
I
knew it was coming. IGN adores this game for no reason.
You gotta get the cake. You gotta.
What is this game? It's a puzzle game that has some rudimentary physics.
So this is essentially what I get from it. Okay, it's a fun co-op game, which nobody will argue against, right?
No.
Which I haven't played. I haven't played it, but I think the main draw of this game is that it's co-op.
Yeah.
And then it's just Portal. More.
Yeah. They upgraded their physics engine a tiny bit.
Bravo. Say it.
Get off my list. You're done. What are you
Portal
doing?
2's probably on my list.
The third best game in the world? Portal 2?
Not close.
Yeah. This thing, I'm going to die.
Oh.
Coco is, by the way, straight chilling.
Didn't even flinch. Like,
he doesn't care in the slightest about video games of all time.
The problem is the cat's heightened senses. Like, he felt the stuff in your lungs about to come up before you even felt the tickle. Like, he was like, okay, and there we go. Okay.
is straight vibing, man.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, anyways, Portal 2, you don't deserve, like, you're a great game. Lots of fun. You added multiplayer to a game that people really enjoyed. The crazy, Portal stuff when it first came out, people were just wilding, like, wow, why are
Physics in the
you?
game. This box falls. I could jump from here to here.
The robot makes fun of me. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yep. And then the
Yeah.
typical, they made a joke with cake,
Yeah.
right? This is how disrespected I feel about this being in number 3. I would remove this from my top 100 just because of IGN. Literally, to prove a point, I would remove this thing from the complete list.
Well, I know you're removing 2 of the top 100 games here.
You are
list,
look.
so, or
You
top
are
3
talking
games.
Yeah, because Mort the Chicken is number 1. We already know that. That's number 0.
in a world of thousands of games. It just strikes me as odd that, like I've said, the last hour and a half, like, you're gonna list multiple games in the same exact genre, the same series on this list. Like, wow, what kind of is this list? Just like Zelda and Mario? Is that what we're doing? Because that's what we're doing. Like,
That's what
you're gonna take
that's
up
where
2
it
slots
becomes tough.
for Portal 1 and Portal 2 on the 100 best games on the planet. Come on, man.
Okay. Before we
hard
even
agree.
go to 2, there's 3 games easily that should still be on this list. Being, well, I guess 1 was Pong, Tetris, and Space Invaders. All should still be on this list.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Here,
I agree.
Here, yeah, we'll get
before
to it,
before we get to the top 2, do we have anything that we feel? Obviously, Joe just mentioned a few. Is there anything else that comes to mind where you're like, "What? This is missing"?
Resident Evil 1.
Okay.
Are you waiting for me?
Yeah, I'm waiting in general. I don't know what's going on.
All right,
Unreal Tournament.
So you've got, if you're tipping the hat to nostalgia, I would expect the number 1 game to be Pong because of its placement in, history. But also Space Invaders, because it is like the most profitable game in the entire world. So, like, I don't know, like, those are the 2 that come to mind. Where's Elden Ring in this list, huh? What is that? Number 1?
It's I would say it has the same issue of it's just still
It's just too new.
I think it makes the list at some point probably.
I mean, they updated this in March, end of March, so
Yeah, this is the first time they've actually like made any changes since 2019 supposedly. So now this is where like some bias stuff. These could have been mentioned, but I could see these things not being they wouldn't be high, right? This is like you're talking like towards the bottom 10 or so. But like I don't know why I got such a soft spot for these 2 games of Dead Space and Far Cry 3.
Far Cry 3 belongs.
I think Far Cry 3 is like oof. It's so good.
Wii Sports.
Yeah, honestly, Wii Sports is pretty big. Man, I am actually surprised we haven't seen that.
pole position.
We didn't have a single card game.
Hearthstone. Magic the Gathering Arena.
I'm trying to be like so we're talking video game wise, so it's got to be like the digital aspect of it, right?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
And if we're going digital, it is Hearthstone. Hearthstone is the
I think
Is
Magic
the-
would still take it.
I think it'd be close.
I agree it'd be close, but I think Magic still overtakes.
My thing I'm thinking of is, do they even make the list? I
Here's how I
think
look
that
at this. There should be one game minimum representing each genre.
Yeah.
There should be
Well,
one game minimum representing each main console era.
you go into for card game wise, right? Let's say now we're getting dirty into like our binds of like, hey, do we consider like Slay the Spire and Hearthstone in the same category? Like
No.
deck building versus like a collectible card game, right?
No.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. Magic is more influential because of it being Magic.
Mm-hmm.
But
Luigi's Mansion should be on the list.
I could see Luigi's Mansion. You're doing the same thing I was doing. I was like looking at my games.
I'm like looking around and like just seeing different consoles
Well,
games.
that's the thing. The thing is, then it's like, okay, does like Crash Bandicoot or something like that is that like
Crash
missing from the
Bandicoot should
list?
be on the list.
Yeah,
I think
or like
Crash or Spyro.
Yeah,
I think one
like
or the other.
you think of like that stuff. It's like
We had
okay,
no real like
Or
collectathon on the list.
Jack and Daxter.
Banjo.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Ratchet and Clank or Jack and Daxter,
Yeah.
I could see somebody
But
arguing that stuff, but I can also see like why it's not on the list.
Pong
I
and
mean, there.
Space Invaders, not a single argument I will hear that it's not on this list.
Oh yeah, no, they should be. That's what I mean. There are a lot of games. There's a lot of things, and the fact that you got things like Portal 2
I'm surprised we
and
didn't see a Contra.
I'm not. Contra, listen, Contra was like a big popular game, but that thing died on the NES.
Yeah,
Pretty
but
much. It
still.
I mean, there obviously was the Contra 3 and whatnot, but man, that I don't know.
No
Top
Donkey
100
Kong
though?
Countries.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country. See, yeah, it'd take us forever to come up with this. This is gonna be like a long project for us to do.
Yo,
100%.
pole position.
None of the Ninja
is
Turtle
actually
arcade games.
I was
Pole position
joking.
what?
I was joking about pole position, but I just scrolled to the bottom of this list. It is the second to the bottom of most profitable games or highest grossing games in the world. That's so funny. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are the last one on the list. Anyways, yeah.
Anyways,
Light Sim game should be on here.
All right, should we do number 2?
Yeah, we might as well move on.
Yeah, I could go here for hours.
Oh yeah, there's so many games. Let's be honest. Number 2, we've got Super Mario World. Not
No
surprised.
Top 5.
And I don't have an argument there. And then number 1.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
There's
My
no
God.
way this is the best game of all time.
It's not the best game. It's not the
wanna
best game of all
know-
time. It's not the most influential game of all time.
I
It's
just
in
want
the
to know.
conversation.
Just want to know what they pay IGN. What are they doing over there? I just don't understand it. It's literally exactly what you said. There isn't a single argument where this game becomes number 1 unless you're like open world. Then I could see it. Best open world game. Then I see you saying like, oh yeah, number 1.
Pretty.
Other than that, don't
I
see
have 3 arguments for what number 1 could or should be. Pong, the start of video games, basically. There's Super Mario.
Yep.
Which saved video games.
Yep.
Technically 4. And then you could say Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time.
So which I haven't thought. I know that we're sitting here and we're trying to. It's very hard and it's late. We've been doing this for a while. To me, it's definitely like between Pong, Mario, the original Mario, Ocarina of Time, and yeah, Mario 64 would be up there also. Man, I don't know if I really don't know if there's anything else. I think it's between those four.
I think
The-
those four should be the top four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough to say.
I think number one is it has to be like one of the OGs. Like if you're gonna just do an arbitrary list of 100, like Space Invaders, Pong, Asteroids, Tetris. One of
Tetris
those
should be top 5. That would be my round out my top 5 right
Now,
there.
if I can have a small tangent here, if I were to make a top 100, I would make a top 100 from right now, like today, you know? So none
Yeah.
of those old games are making the list, right?
If you're
unless they're actually like fun, you know, like arguably Space Invaders is still pretty fun, so like maybe it'd make like 99 or something, you know?
But
like
then is your
I-
list based on most influential or just best games?
No, just
Yeah,
if
just,
you're-
just straight up the best game. So that's why none of the old games would make it, because they definitely influenced things. They definitely like were like
it's hard.
critical, but like
That's where it just comes down to like what is the
Right.
criteria?
so like Doom
I would-
doesn't make the list because there's clearly better first person shooters, you know, that like you get rid of the fat and like you quit tipping the hat to the old games, because we all understand, like you basically say, okay, we understand that these old games are the reason why these new games exist, or
They
like
paved
the
the way.
influence, right? So like what are the actual 100 best games right now on the market? And that's
I
what
do
my
think
list
that would be an interesting, and it might be more interesting because
yeah.
it's hard to argue against like the 5 that we were talking about, or even if you want to say 4, right? But I think even like that 5 of like you got the Tetris, Pong, Mario 64, Ocarina of Time,
Super
and
Mario.
and yeah, Super Mario. I think it's very hard to argue that, so it almost makes it like not as I don't know, hard, like as fun of a debate.
I feel like
But-
after our top 5 is where the debate would come in. Like 5 to 25 is where the blood.
But
would be
like
flowing.
I agree with Bravo here, because I would say like Pong doesn't make the list if you're talking about like fun games to me. Like
Yeah, like,
if
for
you're,
example-
if you're like top 100,
For example, I believe it's Burnout 3. The loading screen is Pong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like you can sit in the loading screen and not hit, you know, go next or like start or whatever, and just play Pong with another human being. You know, so like,
Hmm.
okay, Burnout 3 is #1 game.
yeah,
You know,
it's funny, and almost then goes into when you're talking about that, it's like, well, then it turns into like our gaming island challenge. Remember when we did that?
yeah.
Of like, well, then you just look and be like, all right, well, there's this
of this.
collection. There's a collection of all Mario, of like the Mega Man collection, right? Well, why would I pick Mega Man 3 over Mega Man 1 through 6?
Right.
But I would probably say if you're doing something like this list collection, stay out of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
for sure, for sure. That
Yeah.
you can't be doing that.
I think we
Collection's
should
gotta
do
stay
it.
out.
I think we should do it. I think we should make our own.
Yeah, I think it'd be
100%.
fun. But and I'm on the fence. I think it's something we could talk about, but I could see either way, us doing the influential one or doing the just best games of all time 100, and then you even include Elden Ring. You know, if you think it is on the list, you could include that. That's like a super modern game.
Yeah, and there's no reason why we
Um,
can't do multiple lists. Maybe not back to back, but multiple lists for
Yeah.
sure.
No, we only do lists, and we spend the next like 800 hours researching for these lists.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's something fun to mess around with for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that concludes our longest episode yet, on accident. Thank you for sticking around. If you are at the end of this video and actually watch the entire thing, drop a comment
God
and
bless
say
you.
"Foist." Okay, you're an angel, and I love you. And we're a little active on Twitter. Don't have any other social medias, but you can join the Discord if you want. We've got links on the link tree down below, and we will catch you next time.
Later.
All right.
Bye.